we're live again. Shabbat Shalom. How's everybody doing tonight? We are weekend warriors, and we're here to notice. It's live cooking at the noticery. What can I say? Hope everybody's doing okay this evening. So we're just gonna get started without further ado. And let me see. Let me get up here. I'm gonna start with an article, okay? Because it helps warm up my vocal cords. Hello, Thugbone. Welcome in. Hello, all you fine folk out there. Hello to your mothers as well. So we have a lot. I have a lot to discuss, but let's start with an article. Sonar 21, Larry Johnson, the American footprint in Germany, a schnitzel-fueled alliance, he says. And I like maps. That's cool. Lots of, looks like military installations, U.S. military installations in Germania. Let's see what this guy's on about. Trump's reported decision to withdraw 5,000 troops from Germany is a curious symbolic gesture that has been greeted with alarm from many German politicians. The United States still maintains a robust military presence in Germany with approximately 35 to 40K troops stationed across the country, primarily under U.S. European Command, EUCOM. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Peach Panther. Welcome in. Hello, Jess. What's up, 420? Hi, Tom Jones. Hello, Lee. Heathen Granny. Torontosaurus. U.S. Army Europe and Africa. This presence represents one of the largest overseas American military deployments, a strategic partnership forged in the aftermath of World War II and refined through decades of Cold War tension, NATO collaboration, and an inexplicable German efficiency that makes American logistics look like a high school group project. Please let me know if the sound is bad. I need to know those things. Did you know that Germany hosts more American military personnel than some American states have active duty troops? I decided it is time to give you a detailed catalog of the U.S. presence. Ask yourself, does this still make strategic sense? The strategic footprint. Why Germany, besides the beer? Germany's geographic position in Central Europe makes it the ideal staging ground for rapid deployment to Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, NATO coordination, logistical support, access to excellent bakeries, and a transportation system that actually runs on time. That's that German efficiency, you know. The installations are concentrated in two primary regions, Bavaria, which is southern Germany, the Rhineland, which is southwestern Germany, and additional key sites in Baden-Württemberg and Hesse. Okay. Let's see. He goes through a bunch of the air bases. Let's see. Ramstein is the beating heart of American air operations in Europe. If you've ever wondered where all those C-130s are going, the answer is probably through Ramstein. It's also home to the Kaiserslautern Military Community, KMC, which includes thousands of service members, their families, and an American-style commissary that somehow stocks ranch dressing in a country that has never heard of it. Most importantly, at least 4 wounded soldiers, sailors, Marines. The Landstuhl Medical Center is located adjacent to Ramstein. Fun fact, Ramstein hosts one of the largest 4th of July celebrations outside the U.S. Then he's talking about another base, reality check. Let's see. Okay, this seems a bit archaic. Not archaic, a bit arcane, maybe? A bit tedious? I'm not going to... Let's just go skip to the economic impact. The U.S. military presence contributes billions to the German economy annually. Local communities benefit from employment, real estate, retail, tourism. This is another theme of American imperialism in the post-World War II era. Remember, we have a pointillist empire. It's a lot different from previous empires, which was based on land acquisition and conquering other peoples. We, on the other hand, have a lend-lease program where we just we lease these foreign sites so that we can host military bases in their country, so we can have a staging ground. Obviously, that's exactly what Larry Johnson was talking about in the beginning. But that is what produces an economy in these colonial outposts, if you will, these places where the U.S. military has a presence. They tend to dominate that region, and it's there's a whole supply chain connected to it. There's all these American soldiers that live on the base, and there's a whole culture that emerges from these military installations. And there's a really great book called How to Hide an Empire. I talk about it a lot, but the writer, Daniel Immerwahr, I think I said his name right, he details just how impactful this policy of the United States to, get another point on the map, if as it were, through these military bases. And he even draws a connection between the military bases and like the rise of the Beatles. The fact that, Liverpool, for example, where the Beatles are from, was a big like military, U.S. military haven, and was part of like, the World War II war effort. And that created this whole culture, this whole economy in Liverpool. And I forget like the details of it because it's been a few years since I read it, but he connects that like the presence of the U.S. military basically preceding the rise of the Beatles. Like, anyway, it's an interesting analogy. Take it for what it is. So let's see. The U.S. military presence, blah, blah, blah. Translation: American soldiers keep the local economy humming while simultaneously keeping the local bakery in business. That's why Chancellor Merz is upset with Trump's reported decision to start withdrawing U.S. troops. The U.S. represents one of the last centers of positive economic activity in Germany, and the same was true for Japan as well. That's why they rose to technological prominence, because they were part of the military-industrial complex at the end of World War II and for the Cold War. And that, they learned a lot from Silicon Valley and all these U.S. corporations that were innovating all this technology, and they became superior because of that. And eventually in the 90s, they actually challenged a lot of these corporations in the United States for market dominance. That's where like Sony and Samsung, I don't know if it's Samsung, maybe that's Korean, but same sort of story there. But Sony particularly was a result of that. All right, so he says, does it still matter? With the breakup of the Soviet Union, the U.S. military presence in Germany no longer makes sense. Yeah, that's a good point, right? There's no big bad Russians to fight, right? Remember, they turned capitalist. They dissolved the Soviet Union. So why are we still fighting them? But it does make sense, CENTS, at least for the Germans. The real reason for the continued U.S. presence in Germany is that Germany provides a strategic launch pad for U.S. hegemonic adventures. That's right. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. And that's really the main takeaway. That's why things get done. That's why things get done. That's why policies get implemented. Nobody implements a policy that's going to make them poorer. The people that are in charge are going to implement policies that make them richer and more powerful. The bottom line, these bases are historical relics, but they remain active components that enable U.S. military adventures in the Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, and Africa. Here is the conclusion, if you've been paying attention, which I hope that you have been, and taking notes. The American military presence in Germany once was a testament to enduring partnership, shared values, and an emblem for leaders who embrace the myth that security is a collective endeavor. That era is dead and dying. Germany needs the U.S. presence because of its economic stimulus to a decaying German economy. And the U.S. needs Germany as a critical logistics hub for sustaining operations, like the current war with Iran. The continued U.S. presence in Germany is predicated on the belief that the U.S. needs a forward location for staging troops and other military assets in preparation for attacking other countries. Washington politicians and policymakers continue to delude themselves with the lie that we are there to deter foreign aggression. We are the foreign aggression. We implement the foreign aggression. However, the record of the last 66 years, starting with Vietnam, shows that the country that has been the most active attacking other countries that did not attack the U.S. is the U.S. Thank you very much. I think it is time we come home and clean up our own domestic mess. Go home, America, we all say. All right, so that was Larry Johnson's article. So I don't know how this gets speculated, but apparently people are saying that Netanyahu's blood cancer, and I can't find a goddamn article that confirms this, but it's certainly being bandied about on Twitter as if it's fact, which is amusing and hopeful, but also gaslighting if it's not true. Don't fill me with false hopes. But here is a viral clip of Netanyahu released, I think, yesterday, where he's working out, or maybe he's practicing his, how he jerks off a camel. I don't know. You be the judge. It says Netanyahu shuts down health concerns with gym session. This is according to Israel Hayom. Cranks 12 cable rope push downs followed by one bicep curl. Rate his form. What do you guys think?
בוקר טוב.
בוקר טוב.
אפשר להפריע לך באימון?
אתה יכול, אבל תצטרך לעבוד קשה.
ולהפריע לך בלו"ז שלך היום, להתלוות?
תתחיל בבוקר, כמעט כל בוקר פה, בחדר הכושר, ואחר כך תצטרף, כן, נשמח לראות.
של הטיפ לצעירים שרוצים להתגייס ליחידות קרביות?
He did one bicep curl. Literally one. Let's put that down, old man.
להתאמן, לא לוותר. אתם מסוגלים להרבה יותר ממה שאתם חושבים.
ראש הממשלה, בוקר טוב.
Is it AI?
אפשר להפריע לך באימון?
People are saying, oh, he's been dead for months. Allegedly. But you know what's funny is I don't have this clip, but I saw on Instagram where there are politicians that are challenging Netanyahu now. It seems like the wolves are starting to gather around. And like Naftali Bennett, of course, is challenging Netanyahu. I don't know what their election cycle is or where they're at and all that, but there was this one Israeli politician who released a video in response challenging Netanyahu basically, and it was him like hitting the gym, doing what Netanyahu is doing, but with more vigor. And I just think that's so funny that they're like, it's like a piss contest. They're just piss artists, pissing away. So everybody's been posting this, you see. Can't love Netanyahu enough, says the Mossad. While asked what he eats to stay healthy after his daily good workout, he's peeling the shell off a boiled egg. You peel it yourself. Netanyahu doesn't miss a beat. He uses his sixth finger. Oh, that's cute.
אם אין מדרגות, תלך ברגל. בכל מקרה.
הדבר ראשון שאתה אוכל אחרי אימון?
עצה קשה.
יאללה, נתראה בהמשך.
בוא נלך למטבח, ניקח ביצים קשות.
ביצים קשות?
זה פרוטאין.
זה לא נשמע חטיף כל כך די.
כן, אתה רוצה את השייקים המגעילים האלה?
לא.
I don't know, maybe Nick is responding to the fact that we just bombed 168 schoolgirls, but, we couldn't possibly be expressing outrage for that, right? For the criminal aggression committed by the Americans? Like, are you upset? Will you try crying about it, Dante? Because there's a couple people that are actually responsible for the deaths of American soldiers, and none of them are Nick Cruz. But they are the Secretary of Defense, Pete Kegsbreath. What are you doing? Why aren't you talking about them? Seems like Nick is doing a lot more than you are. Why don't you try setting up a conversation? Get a dialogue going. Start a stream channel. Be the media. He should watch his mouth. Dude, you are a joke. You're a joke. You're pearl clutching at words when we've been witnessing a live stream genocide for the past 3 years committed by the Americans and the Israelis. Oh, but the dissent against that, they should watch their mouths, right? You're a joke. You're a reactionary. All right, let's go to my bookmarks. Okay, now you're just gonna like be a shithead, huh? Okay, bye-bye. I mean, I hope that you find it in your heart to cry more. Please. Please cry. Cry harder. This is the point of view of what my microwave sees while I wait for my pizza rolls. Oh, my Lord. That is intense. And I'm hearing that was not actually AI. Which is big if true. I really don't know. I thought it was. It's like there's no way that a human being would actually act like that, given everything that she's been faced with under, such public scrutiny, and then she's gonna stare at the camera so malevolently and mouth breathe into the mic. See, people are saying it's not AI. It's not AI. I don't know. I'm still not intrigued enough to actually watch or maybe I don't have the patience enough to watch the full clip of everything that she, broadcast that day. But she has the look of a sniper. I know. She looks like she just jumped off that building at the University of Utah. Let's see. This is a clip of Marandi. It says absolute panic in Tel Aviv. Marandi confirms Hezbollah is hitting Israel so hard the Zionist military is retreating. He warns Iran can easily strike the Israeli regime because their air defenses are depleted. The Washington-backed war machine is rapidly collapsing.
Well, just as Hezbollah has shown itself to be far more powerful than the West was expecting, and we discussed this before. They were saying how Hezbollah is a spent force. The West basically took control of Syria through Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and there's now a proxy of the United States. And
it's true. Hezbollah doesn't exist anymore. Thank you, Mossad pagers.
They imposed puppets in Beirut, the prime minister and the president, and then you had the Israeli regime. So Hezbollah was finished. But now we're seeing that Hezbollah's hitting the Israeli regime hard, and there's talk that they're removing some of their troops from southern Lebanon because they're so vulnerable. So, imagine if those capabilities exist in Iraq or in Yemen. And I'm talking about on the ground troops that can move beyond borders and do damage. That's one thing that I can think of. Second is when the Iranians start striking the Israeli regime again. The regime obviously does not have the number of surface-to-air missile capabilities.
Please, Ball. if you're listening. Oh, sorry. Paul.
The surface there missiles that they would need. The last few weeks is not nearly enough to make up for what it needs. So Iran, if they continue down this path, then they can swiftly begin striking targets within the Israeli regime without much difficulty, if any. The third is that the Iranians would go after more sensitive targets in the Persian Gulf region. That could include the ships now. If they could start targeting the ships in the Persian Gulf, they can start targeting
You promise?
the critical infrastructure that they haven't destroyed yet. I think the commander of Iran's missiles said that don't count on oil from the Persian Gulf for many years to come if there's war. So that could happen.
Don't tempt me with a good time. Let's see. InfoWars has been now bought officially, by The Onion. And now they're parodying InfoWars. And this is Tim Heidegger, I think, doing an Alex Jones impression. Let's see how good he is. Is it better than mine?
Once more, I did this earlier this morning, but I'm going to sip from the blood of the Forsaken. This is real human blood. You can find this at the InfoWars store. This is human blood curated from the Forsaken and the sinners. All right, this is pure premium blood, tested, FDA unapproved. And this is just human blood. And as part of my satanic ritual, I am a servant to Satan. And thank God I was able to get him and the Lord to sit down and come to their senses and get things back to before Satan was cast into hell. So I'm part of that. I'm part of the peace movement. It's thick. It tastes like blood. And this is Satan giving me the powers to continue to fight. And we will continue to fight. And I cheers to you. If you have access to the blood of the Forsaken, and of all the children, this is not blood. These are adult. This is adult blood, by the way. Ain't no question. I made sure of that because I don't want to get in trouble. But this is the blood of the Forsaken. It's hot.
You think he's going to talk about anything else in this clip?
It tastes good. It's giving me the power. It's like Sun Tzu said, the victor in battle seeks battle only after the victory has been won. And we will win. We will conquer. InfoWars forever. You are the Info Warrior. Follow us. InfoWars is a movement, and you're on it now. You're on our ship. Come on board.
Somehow that was tamer than an Alex Jones rant. I'm bleeding from the ears. Here's me at my wedding and me at Netanyahu's funeral. Elon Mitzrahi says, I truly have no idea why anyone would be fascinated by violently pointless AI. Violently pointless. That's a great way of putting it. When humans are capable of such beauty and emotional depth, I would rather sit and stare at this for 3 hours than anything a machine will ever be able to offer me. Created by Russian sculptor Ernst Nitzvestny, who had quite an amazing life story. Mask of Sorrow, Russia, built in 1996. To the memory, of the gulags. Oh, gosh. Those innocent kulaks. May they rest in peace. I don't know if you noticed, but while you were sleeping, the global order just changed. China is now openly rejecting all U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil and says it will not comply. That's a direct refusal to follow the rules that Washington built its power on. Excuse me? Who do you think you are? I am. Sanctions work on force and obedience, And when major economies stop recognizing them, that entire system disintegrates. Less compliance, less leverage, less control, less power, less influence. This is what a global shift actually looks like, the end of an empire and the beginning of something new. BRICS is rising and acting independently while the U.S. struggles to enforce the rules it once dictated without question. We now live in a world where an American sanction is not game over. This isn't the world many of us were born into. It's something quite different. That's all wise words from Adam. Very good. Very good. See, look, people are just like, yeah, Netanyahu's been dead for months. Totally. Allegedly, is what this guy says. This is just a way to phase him out without admitting that he was killed in an Iranian airstrike. I don't know why people just, can say this and then, it'll go viral. Notice, it's not like I'm liking this. I'm just showing you this. I don't believe this. I don't agree with this. I'm just showing it to you. But that is, and this is what I was talking about. I can't find a goddamn article about this, but it doesn't stop Twitter pages, relatively large Twitter pages, who are focused on geopolitics but can't spell geopolitics. And they get away with just posting a picture of Netanyahu and saying, well, he's got blood cancer. It was diagnosed yesterday. Okay, what source? How are you going to say that to me and not provide any further information? Red Operative Leninist says, it boggles my mind how the democratic socialism scam still works in 2026. Yeah, are we out of our fucking minds? Where you just vote for Zionist Epsteinites every 4 years because they promise affordability. Yes, the people that have live streamed a genocide to us on our phones are concerned about the affordability crisis. They really want you to afford the same baby eaters care about the price of milk, of course. What comes to mind when you see this face? I'll tell you, nothing really comes to my mind, but something comes out of my mouth, and it's vomit. Dildo nose. That's good. No shade to dildos, though. They do great things. Why is the White House... The White House is so desperate. Methinks the White House doth protest too much, right? They posted this clip, which is just an hour long, and it's just President Trump saying winning over and over and over.
Winning it, 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 winning it.
So I guess they're saying, if we say it enough times, it becomes true. This is like the complete dumbing down of America has finally been accomplished. They no longer have to tell us anything about their policies. They don't have to convince us of anything. They've literally just watered it all down to one word. Winning. That's it. Well, if that's the case, I guess no further inspection necessary. So now Palantir staff are reportedly questioning the company's commitment to civil liberties. Gee, you think? 2 years after they inked a deal with the IDF to aid their genocide of the Gaza Strip, now Palantir staff are saying maybe some questions need to be raised. But of course, not about that. It's about, of course, us back home. Not the other aspect of the imperial boomerang. Just the one here, civil liberties. That's right. Peter Thiel is an anagram of the reptile. This is something say a lot just because we love to make fun of libertarians here on this channel. Libertarians will, so obviously the Libertarian Party released this. You can see it. It says, how many human deaths did communism cause in the last 100 years? And they don't answer. It just says a picture of Marxism kills. Okay. Grok says the estimates for deaths under communist regimes, by the way, over the last 100 years range from 65 to 100 plus million, which I think that's pretty low. I think it's at least 6 trillion. Don't you? The key breakdowns, oh my God, from major sources like the Black Book of Communism, which was debunked by their own authors. The authors of the Black Book of Communism, which posited that communism, communist regimes, whatever, were responsible for 100 million deaths. Yeah, the authors, they said that, and I forget how they put this, but basically they falsified that information. It was a lot of people, a lot of these deaths that they counted were people that would have been born for some reason. They included people that were never born as a death. So that tells you anything. The other thing they did was that they counted the deaths of German soldiers that the Soviets killed. So literally, we're counting Nazis as victims of communism, which is based, I thought. But this is just pure propaganda. It should tell you that Grok is obviously a political tool because they're quoting R.J. Rummel. This guy, R.J. Rummel, is like straight out of a libertarian think tank. Like legitimately, I forgot. I think it's the Mises Institute, in fact. He is an author for this neoliberal think tank. And I'm pretty sure he just ends up quoting the Black Book of Communism anyway. And there's actually been scholarly takedowns of R.J. Rummel's work. Why do I know this? Because I've actually engaged in an argument with a libertarian on TikTok, going back and forth. And this is this was the source that they cite. They all cite this. It's always the same guy, R.J. Rummel, the Black Book of Communism, and probably like PragerU. They're all PragerU authors or Mises Institute authors or Heritage. What is the Heritage Foundation? It's all the same shit. That book's debunked, you idiot. And so has R.J. Rummel. But the glaring takeaway for libertarians, because we have to parse this out with other things that they tell us. So libertarians will claim to oppose the CIA and then beg for Grok to feed them literal CIA-generated slop to tell them how bad communism is. It's like, try to square that circle. Ted Cruz is deeply disappointed, and I can't tell you how happy that makes me. Stop Anti-Semitism's claims. What is happening at the prestigious Kincaid School in Houston, Texas? At its school-wide Culture Fest on March 31st, Kincaid permitted a Palestine booth displaying a map that erased the world's only Jewish state, the Negev. This is an abomination. This is like another Holocaust. Hyacinth, thank you. The Black Book also counted Koreans and Vietnamese killed in the American wars of aggression against the... it doesn't say, but if you remember correctly, that's not surprising at all. Yeah. It's literally the victims of imperial capitalism. Not the other way around. Thank you, Sergio, for becoming a member to the stream. I appreciate that. And if you'd like to support my content, becoming a member on the YouTube Live is a great way of doing that. Ostrich Poacher, I'm sorry I missed your super. Did I hear of Project Nimbus? I feel I have, yes. looking at that, it sounds kind of like the data centers going up everywhere is their idea. Oh, it's definitely their idea, no doubt. No, but I'm trying to remember. There's so many different projects. Project Esther, Project Nimbus. I could take a look. Let's see. Project Nimbus, Nimbusa. Project Nimbus is a project by the American technology companies, Google, Amazon, providing the Israeli government with technology services, including infrastructure for cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and other related services. So a war crime is Project Nimbus. The Israeli Finance Ministry announced in April 21 that the contract is to provide the government, the defense establishment, and others with an all-encompassing cloud solution. Yes, there's so much organizational and creative power going into a kill chain, essentially. And Project Nimbus is another aspect of that, as we can see. Cam Higbee says, who is a better ally? He asks for a poll. This guy's a staunch Israel supporter, complete Zionist libertarian, just like we were just joking about. He puts up a poll. I guess he's expecting for people to say Israel, but nope. Also, I don't think North Korea is an ally. North Korea is not even an ally. It's like a stated enemy of the United States government. Israel is a stated ally of the United States government. And even to the Americans who can see everything with their own eyes will say, North Korea, I think, as an enemy is a better ally than Israel is as an ally. Yeah, ratioed, exactly. Funny shit. Okay, I got off my bookmarks. Let's go back. Okay. Let's see. We watched a little bit of this, not last night, the night before. I can't remember. But if you haven't watched this, this is a good clip, or this is a good podcast. Jake Shields and Haz Al-Din. And they're talking about, it's the marriage of the left and the right. The left and the right are a psyop. Everybody's beginning to see what's going on, right? He says Israel is the red line. Both parties are prostitutes of the Zionists, the capitalists, and the global elite. Paid shills and slaves to serve the agenda of people we will never be able to vote for on any ballot box.
The question I want to ask as a communist is, okay, well, how are you free if you have no control or no independence whatsoever, because you're basically working on servicing mortgages and debt for your car, for your home. Your job is by no means guaranteed, and it's very, very difficult to actually be truly economically independent in a so-called capitalist country.
That's why we're not even called the proletariat anymore. We're called the precariat, the precarious proletariat. We live precarious lives, insecure, never knowing, are we going to be able to afford this or that? Are we going to make rent next month? That's how it goes. They want you like that. And then they want another aspect of this underclass, which is completely unemployed and unemployable and homeless. So you can be scared of losing your job.
So while they're worrying about this boogeyman of communism taking away all their freedom, what about the society we live in now, where if you do speak up, you're shut out of the system? Yeah. You have no access to anything.
They'll try to get you fired if you speak about children being killed in Israel.
Israel is the red line. Israel's the red line because Israel is this frontier for basically all the things that I mentioned that were around during Karl Marx's time, right? The basic inhumane way that people are being ripped apart from the land that they live on, right? To be reforged and remodeled or discarded even, right? Yeah. Israel's the embodiment of ultimately the embodiment of that capitalistic principle. Israel was founded upon the genocide and dispossession of Palestinian people from their land. Israel continues, by the way, to try to get land grabs in South Lebanon.
You're Lebanese.
Where my parents...
They wiped out Apple Maps is going along with it. They wiped out the villages.
My parents grew up there. And they came here when they were about like 7-10 years old. But, they about 1.2 million people have fled the South because of what they're doing. Like,
They're
people that were
destroying-
living there for centuries, right? So why is Israel this existential battle? Because here at home, we're facing an Israelification. Okay, they're evicting people out of their homes. They're destroying people's ways of life. They're trying to completely take away our basic means of dignity, even here. And this is a tendency around the entire world. Israel is that tendency as a state power, you know?
Why do you think the Republican Party, they're going to burn down with Israel? Because everyone can see it's evil, but they are just so embedded. We're like, no, this is our great ally, to the point where it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Everyone's seeing it now, but they're not going to detach. Like, what is that?
Well, look, the Republican Party is the most
it's both parties too,
in addition to Democrats and Republicans, they're both prostitutes of the Zionists, the capitalists, and the global elite. You know, they have no independent thought. They have no independent agenda. They have no independent thinking. They are paid shills and slaves to serve the agenda of people that we will never be able to vote for on any ballot box.
Damn. Bro's cooking. Okay. All right. This just pisses me off, okay? So I don't like talking about Hassan. I don't want to come after Hassan. But, you know, it's all anybody's ever talking about right now because of his recent tour of endorsing Democrats across the country. And, you know, he was in St. Louis a couple days ago. And just like what Haz al-Din was saying, you know, Democrats, Republicans, both prostitutes for Zionism. And, you know, people are grilling Hassan for this, which I agree with. I think he's wrong here. But so this person here on Twitter asks me, is there anything he says here that you disagree with? Okay, let's take a listen.
For far too long, we've been told you have to vote for harm reduction. We all know the Republicans are corrupt. We all know that they're monsters, they're racist, they traffic in hatred. But we are here to say we are no longer going to vote for do-nothing Democrats either. We're voting for Democrats with a purpose.
Okay, so he said, to raucous applause, he says, we're no longer voting for do-nothing Democrats. We're voting for Democrats with a purpose. So to answer this guy's question, is there anything he says here that I disagree with? Well, the answer is yes. I disagree with his presumption that there is any distinction between do-nothing Democrats and Democrats with a purpose. It sounds a lot to me like how libertarians argue for capitalism. Just replace the word Democrats with capitalists, and you can see how absurd it is. We're not supporting do-nothing capitalists. We're supporting capitalists with a purpose. You see how that sounds? This isn't real capitalism. This is crony capitalism. No, this is capitalism. And that is the Democratic Party. It's like saying, we're not going to vote for the leopard eating our faces party. We're going to vote for the leopard eating our faces with a purpose party. The application of Band-Aids while preserving the worker-owner class antagonism will not solve the problem. Are we supposed to now imagine, after decades of treachery and deception and betrayal, that the Democratic Party could be anything different than the exact thing that it is and was designed to do, which is nothing? And not just nothing, actually, but a whole hell of a lot of effort, energy, time, money into inducing public consent and support for their non-material results on any of the platforms that they ever campaign for or against. So then I'm like, I didn't even, I just saw this. I'm like, oh, and so I thought, oh, maybe we could talk about this, right? But this guy's having conversations with himself. He says, this is just so silly to me. Read this guy's comment. He says, so when are you doing anything to make a difference in politics? Question marks. Is there anything he is advocating for that you disagree with? He hates both parties, but we have to work with the accepted structure to get good candidates in our government. The only obvious choice is the Democrats. Okay, so this is just this. Every time, it's not like the first time I've heard this. Right? We hear this so much, and it just always reminds me that you're really only ever criticized by people who are doing less than you. People who do more don't say this kind of shit. Because real, genuine people understand that everyone's got particular talents, skills, and capacities for the advancement of the class struggle. And it's bold of you to assume that a political rally for a Democratic candidate is making a difference in politics. Actually, if it's making any difference at all, it's keeping us locked into this holding pattern of a death spiral that we're faced with right now. It's the definition of insanity. Why would you do this? You're just offloading the karmic debt onto future generations, future Americans, that, you know, you're leaving the burden to them to say it clearly and act on it resolutely. Also, your comment betrays an ignorance to the historical record of successful socialist movements. The three aspects of every successful popular movement in class struggle is to agitate, educate, and organize. In order for material changes to take place in the upheaval of class hierarchy, the working class must be educated. How irresponsible to promote this idea that education isn't doing anything political or isn't making a difference. Furthermore, it's bold of you to assume that myself, someone who has made political satire and class-conscious content for years, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but has accrued millions of views, likes, comments, millions of, at least 1 million followers across several platforms. It's bold of you to say that that's not making a difference. This is the media of our day. We are making a difference. It's funny that you forgot the principle in the course of development of human societies, which is that quantitative changes, which are seemingly imperceptible to your dumbass, in this case, the intellectual self-defense of working class people and their ideas, will eventually lead to qualitative shifts in our material conditions. This is exactly what Lenin advocated for. For every one of these people that says, what difference are we making? There are hundreds, if not thousands, of comments on a daily basis that I receive telling me that I am making a difference. I'm doing just the opposite. How much of a difference I'm making, and I can tell you it's more than whatever this guy is. And I'm not trying to sound petty. And if you think I'm sounding petty, I'm just responding to the energy that I'm being met with. This guy invited these kinds of statements when he framed his questions to me in such a manner. So I feel like this guy is just going around policing other people's behaviors, which is very reactionary, counter-revolutionary. There are some inherent logical fallacies to his argument as well. First and foremost, he says he hates both parties. Hassan hates both parties, but we have to work within the accepted structure to get good candidates in our government. What the fuck is this guy smoking? Is this what Lenin was advocating for in the book that your boy Hassan was cosplaying with? What is to be done? No. In fact, it was the opposite. It was about establishing and building a vanguard party, not advocating for the Mensheviks, the bourgeois reformists, which is what Hassan is doing by flying all the way to Missouri to endorse Democrat NATO hawk Cory Bush, when he should be, at the very least, platforming a guy running for governor in his home state of California under the Green Party. And that guy's name is Butch Ware. Why is it taboo to expect Hassan to, platform the Green Party, an actual party that doesn't accept corporate donations, that isn't bought off by Zionists, that actually platform working class policies and ideas and values and principles? And I don't say this with any pleasure because I'm a fan of Hassan, but shame on him for doing this, playing both sides. This isn't going to help. It's not harm reduction. This is harm prolonging. You don't work within the accepted structure. What does he mean by accepted structure? What is accepted in the structure that he's talking about, that he defends? What is accepted is quite literally unacceptable. It's Zionism, it's genocide, it's wars of aggression, it's vicious class war against the American public, a two-party system owned by the Epstein class, a corporate duopoly where Republicans and Democrats are offense and defense for the same team. They play different roles, they have different tactics, but it's the same strategy in the service of advancing the same class and their interests. And here is our socialist hero glad-handing Democrats and still lending a veneer of credibility to these traitors. It's just prolonging the inevitable. It's giving brunch. It's giving brunch. It's giving, let's not interrupt brunch. Now is not the time. The liberal proverb, please vote Democrat once more, which is insane. Thank you, What the Fuck, Donnie, for the subscription. And what I'm here to do is to promote ideas that are underrepresented in the public marketplace of ideas. I'm trying to extend the Overton window of what we have tacitly accepted. What is possible and what is not possible. This reactionary here that's calling me out is allowing the ruling class to dictate the terms and conditions, the framework that they set, and whatever they consider taboo, he considers taboo. Whatever they accept, he accepts. Well, I don't. And I can't lie to my audience if I disagree with someone. I have no dog in this fight. I have no bias except that of the advancement of working class values, principles, ideas, platforms, institutions, organizations, etc., etc., etc. It's because I am a member of the working class. I don't hate myself. I actually want to see myself do well and everyone else that's in the same boat with me. I've considered Hassan to be an inspiration to me for years, and so this doesn't feel good. I don't believe in what he's doing right now. He has an enormous platform. It's sort of like seeing Bob Dylan in a Victoria's Secret advertisement. And I think Hassan is just somebody that should know better, if we were to believe his rhetoric over the past years. So that's it. Okay, rant over. Sorry for yelling. No, I didn't look up to Hassan. I just enjoyed his content. I mean, you know, I'd never even heard of Twitch or streaming. I didn't even know that there was this political niche on Twitch. But when I started making political music, it got picked up by some of the channels on Twitch, some political channels on Twitch. And ever since then, I was meeting people online. They were telling me I should listen to Hassan. And I was skeptical at first because, you know, I was at the point where, like, nothing that I receive from any sort of form of mainstream media or political commentators is going to be worth anything. But then I started listening, and I was like, okay, I see the value. I see the value of what he's doing, and you know, I could see that he was bringing more younger people into the fold of leftist politics and socialism, and giving another view that we don't ever see in America. So I was all for that. But I mean, you know, it's not like I agreed with everything that he ever said, but I thought he was overall more of a force for good. But I just this to me, it just flies in the face of everything that I know and everything that I thought that he stood for. So we're all just waiting for the right material conditions. Look at this. When you realize you have to pay $4.50 at a gallon for because the president of the U.S., you know, did that thing on a private island, that pretty much sums it up right there. What's on top of my head is my headphones. You can see that. It's not a tiny hat, okay? Don't get scared. Don't panic. Don't cringe. Don't clutch your pearls. It's just a headphone. That's me in the morning pumping gas. All right, let's see. I don't know what this is. Let's see. He's talking. Eddie Liger is talking about chess. They say life is a lot like chess, but I don't know how to play chess. But I'd like to learn. I feel like one day I could learn. Don't count this old dog out yet.
I've been playing a lot of chess lately, and I stumbled across this list of the chess world champions since 1948.
Oh, I see where this is going. The Russians are like vastly superior to the Americans when it comes to chess.
You might notice a trend here. It goes Mikhail Botvinnik from the Soviet Union, and then Vasily Smyslov from the Soviet Union, and then once again Mikhail Botvinnik from the Soviet Union. And in 1963, we get a bit of a change. It's Tigran Petrosian from the Soviet Union, and then, of course, Boris Spassky from the Soviet Union. And, you know, this was all happening during the Cold War, so the United States was very upset about this. How can we allow these commies to keep beating us? And then along came a man by the name of Bobby Fischer, one of the most eccentric and skilled chess players of all time, who was from the United States. And because all of the best chess players at the time were Soviets, the United States decided to turn Bobby Fischer into a political symbol. When he defeated Boris Spassky to become America's first world champion, the American government said, "We did it. We won. Capitalism is superior." It's kind of like the space race. The Soviets did everything for years, and then America put a man on the moon and said, "We win." And the Soviets went back to winning everything again
Allegedly.
because they had superior training methods. But the hilarious twist in this whole story is that Bobby Fischer went on to despise the U.S. government. In the 90s, the US government was trying to destroy the Socialist Republic of Yugoslavia, but Bobby Fischer wanted to go there to play a chess game against Boris Spassky again. And the US said, "No, you can't go. It's an evil socialist country and we'll arrest you." And in response to that, Bobby Fischer said, "You guys can suck it. I'm going anyways." And he did, and he played Boris Spassky. And then he just stayed there and lived in Yugoslavia for the next couple years. Vocally condemned the United States when they started bombing the crap out of the country. That is just so ironic and funny to me that America tried to use him as a pawn, no pun intended, and then he turned on them and ended up hating them. He also had a lot to say about America's greatest ally in the Middle East, but that's a video for another day.
Nice. Good work from Midwestern
I've been playing a lot of
Marks. Don't not follow Midwestern Marks should be missing out. Here's that fat fuck Randy Fine. We don't want Armenians to be able to serve in Congress.
Israel just put out a list of the top 10 most dangerous anti-Semites in the world. And to my amazement, a guy I'd never even heard of until about 3 weeks ago was ranked number one. He's got a very large social media following, not from Florida. He lives in Las Vegas when he's not in his foreign country of Armenia.
He's trying to say Dan Bilzerian is Armenian, really. He's really just Armenian, even though he's like maybe been to Armenia one time. It's like saying, well, I'm really from France because that's where my family, my pedigree comes from. You know, and it's true. Randy Fine's really taking a principled position because we all know that the Armenian lobby is out of control in America.
But you know, he's just a terrible anti-Semite. I think what he's trying to show is that this group of hate-filled lunatics and losers can take hold in the Republican Party. But look, my constituents are smart. The little Armenian said, I think that
his constituents, Jews? Yeah, Jews are smart.
President Trump was a pedophile rapist who should be impeached. That's not a winning argument. And it may work in Armenia where he's from, but that's not an argument that's going to work in the United States. So it's bad. We have to take it seriously because we don't want this to take root in our party. We don't want Armenians to be able to serve in Congress. But
what? He's literally lobbying on behalf of a foreign government, by the way. But obviously, you know, it's all projection. They can't not AccuFess everything that they're doing.
But I'm not going to lose too much sleep about it.
Okay, that's good.
It's probably because you'll be eating. Iran is defeating 50 years of U.S. propaganda with Lego videos.
Same sun rising, but we're living in hell while the leaders are ringing.
I can't stand these songs, though. I'll be honest with you. I'm sorry, I'm Legoed out. You win, Lego. Please, I'm down for the count. You win, Iran. Please stop making a mockery of us. I know we're doing that, and you're just commenting on it, but still. Could you notice less? Despacito. That's probably what they did. That makes sense. So the Daily Wire fires half of its staff in mass layoffs. This comes as co-founder Ben Shapiro has lost 85% of his YouTube audience since last year. 85%? That's... Wait, I gotta check out. Let's fact check that. Are you crazy? 85%? That's nuts. That's fucking nuts, man. All 6 of them. He still has 7 million. I mean, maybe they're talking about paid memberships. He still has 7 million subscribers. But like, look at his, I guess his numbers are, I don't know, who knows how they're doing this, but we know that his numbers have been really bad. Like, look, 22K. I mean, sometimes, yeah, it seems like, look, 15K. I mean, he is getting hundreds of thousands of views still. Who knows if it's botted or not? But this one was 14 hours ago, 41K. 14K. Who knows? It's 100% bots, you say. I would tend to agree, because I just don't understand how people can listen to him without recoiling. That's the word, recoil. I recoil when I listen to that voice. It's grating. What were we looking at? Somehow I lost myself. Under capitalism, food isn't produced to feed people. Can't be 7 million. Look at the photos of the what now? Under capitalism, food isn't produced to feed people, it's produced to make a profit. When it's not profitable to feed people, we let them starve, even when our labor has conquered scarcity. Come on, Daddy's not coming on anything, PJ. Come on nothing. I'll come on your face. How about that, PJ? Don't come on me. Don't come on me, please. When it's not profitable to feed people, we let them starve. Even when our labor has conquered scarcity, capitalism must manufacture it in order to justify its existence. And that's in response to this story. A Walmart worker in the U.S. records what the supermarket throws away every day as waste. All kinds of edible foods and usable products valued at $200,000. That's insane. Under capitalism, food is not produced to feed people. Okay, it's just said that. Let's see, it looks like it's something new. It is produced to generate profits. When production exceeds demand, capitalists discard products to avoid lowering prices and to keep creating scarcity.
Real quickly, because I feel like it's already starting to be a slight smell.
Yeah, there is a heavy smell.
But keep voting Democrat at the polls, guys. We're going to turn this shit around. In the U.S., at the Krispy Kreme donut chain where a dozen donuts cost $22, they throw away all the ones they don't sell and fill the dumpster with hundreds of them. This is capitalism. They prefer to throw food away en masse rather than lower the price. They prefer to lock the trash, call the police on those who rummage through the dumpsters instead of donating it to the poor. The system of greed and selfishness that would rather see you starve to death than drop the price of its products by a few dollars cannot survive if humanity is to endure.
Nah, Krispy Kreme, this is unacceptable, bro. Unacceptable.
Free market, baby. Don't you love it? Pepe Escobar says, decoding Moshtaba, Iran's leader, Moshtaba Khamenei, widely praised by Putin in his meeting with Arakchi in St. Petersburg, issued an important statement on National Persian Gulf Day. Key takeaways. 1. The U.S. has suffered a humiliating defeat, which marks the beginning of a new chapter in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. Iran shares a common destiny with its neighbors around the Persian Gulf. There is no place for outsiders coming from thousands of kilometers away. Number 3, new legal regulations and management and mechanisms in the Strait of Hormuz will benefit all regional nations while also generating economic dividends for Iran. Barbaria, the ball is in your court. Lindsey Graham has finally settled down with his boyfriend. And I think that's beautiful. When Hassan Piker actually reads What is to be Done by Lenin and realizes he wasn't supposed to be tailing Zionist pro-NATO Democrats. Momentum. This guy says F the Jays? This guy stands in Union Square selling Zoran shirts saying F the Jays. What? He saw this guy's Jewish star and I stand for Israel pin and yells, and he says, Internet, do your thing. This is outrageous.
You live in New York? Do you live in New York?
I don't need to speak to you anymore because you're a bitch. You're a bitch, bro.
I'm right there at the Zoran
yeah, I can see
every
that.
day.
I can see
Come
that.
and see me.
What are you gonna do?
Come and see me.
You're right here, bro.
If you feel like I'm a bitch.
But you're real.
If you feel like I'm a bitch.
You're right here.
If you feel like I'm a bitch.
Right.
You can come.
But you're here
anytime you
now.
want. Fuck the Jews. Fuck all of y'all.
But you're here now.
Fuck all of y'all.
But you're here now. Why I gotta wait for you later?
No, I'm telling you. But
you're here now.
I'm telling you.
But you're here now. You're not here later. You're here now.
Look at this fake ass.
Why we gotta look for you before? Look
at that wig she got on.
Look
at that wig she got on. Look at that wig. Yeah. Look at her.
He's been taking videos of my.
You live in New York?
I think it's funny that the guy's like, Internet, do your thing. Come to my aid. Defend me. And everybody's like, yeah, actually, we take his side. The internet takes his side. The world is sick of your perpetual nonsense. He's a hero. The guy says, silence goy. But don't let the goys say that word. So the condescension continues. The entire world hates Israelis. Let's see why. 6 minutes later. Oh, boy. We do not condone any form of hate against any social, ethnic, or religious groups on this stream. I just want you to understand that. We take the YouTube community guidelines very seriously. We do not promote hate. Obviously, we just watched a clip where a very hateful comment was said, and I disavow that on this stream entirely. This concludes my public service announcement. This guy says, deep down, you know why this happened, but no matter, you will not stop until someone stops you. And they wonder why they're so not likable. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, this is the, quote, Armenian that Randy Fine was talking about when he says Armenians should not be in Congress. Dan Bilzerian is also primarying Zionist first Randy Fine, so naturally Randy said Armenians are anti-Semitic. Armenia is 94% Christian and adopted Christianity as their state religion in 301 AD. By the way, Dan Bilzerian was born and raised in Tampa, Florida, not Armenia. And Randy Fine has never lived in the district he represents and represents Israel first. Great point, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Saeed, don't get too excited, okay? Marjorie Taylor Greene does not appear in this clip doing any form of pull-ups. So there's no need to get too excited. Okay.
You do. I don't like a religion that says that they're better than other people. And what's that?
Well, you do. You obviously do. It's blatant. No one watching this will draw any other conclusion. I'm staggered about how brazen you've been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it when people think they're better than other people. And you see that in Israel, and they're acting like that, and they're treating Palestinians like second-class citizens. They're treating them like subhuman beasts, and it sells that in their Talmud. So it says if you are not a Jew, that you are basically subhuman. And I don't think that Judaism and Christianity go hand in hand. I mean, they believe that Jesus is in hell burning in human shit, and they believe the Virgin Mary is a whore. So I don't think those are two religions that really intersect very well.
Yeah,
But,
it's kind of, yeah.
We've been
Dan's got a, he's got a
programmed
point.
that they do, and we've been programmed that it's okay and that Jews are the chosen people, and I just disagree with that. I think everybody's equal.
Do you even comprehend how this interview is going to play out when it?
Piers, this guy took a massive victory lap around your stanky ass.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be bad, but you know, my opinion.
And no, Dan, this is from a few years ago, by the way. And no, it fucking wasn't. Actually, Dan came off as like a hero.
It is not politically correct, but I believe that is the truth. You know, there's 2 billion Muslims, but everybody wants to, you know, promote this anti-Muslim, this hatred for Muslim, like they're all, you know, these terrorists. And I think the Israelis are the terrorists. I think they are the ones perpetuating the big acts of terrorism. And, you know, nobody wants to talk about that.
And what do you say to Jewish people who may watch this and be utterly
Right, because the small acts of terrorism are actually just resistance movements.
horrified by what they're hearing?
They can be horrified. I mean, I was horrified to find.
Thank you, Genghis Cunt. As if I've never heard this one before. You really need to up your game. No, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And thanks for enjoying what I do and what we're doing here.
That they mass murdered Christians. I was horrified to learn the things that they teach in the Talmud. I was horrified that they think that Jesus is burning in shit in hell. I was horrified that they think that the Virgin Mary is a whore. I was horrified to learn that they think it's okay to steal from Gentiles. I was horrified to hear that there's, you know, 2 sets of justice. I was horrified to find out that they think it's okay to, you know, gang rape Palestinian prisoners. I was horrified about all those things. I'm horrified that we're funding a genocide right now. So they can be horrified.
PJ, I'm sorry if I offended you. I'll try to remember to tell you to cover your ears next time. Okay.
Dan Bilzerian. You do.
I don't like a.
Vivid says, give the Jews a desert and they will turn it into a paradise. Conversely, give Palestinians a paradise and they will turn it into ruins. Do you agree? Who's giving the Jews a desert? I thought that was their birthright. I thought that God Don't they mean God gave them the desert? Why do we need to give the Jews a desert? I don't know why they even decide to post at this point. They're just going to get eaten alive in the comments. This is kind of funny. This lady says, if Gaza's not a genocide, nothing is. Or in Barsky says, if Gaza is a genocide, every war in history is. So that's interesting, because if we follow that logic, what does that say about the hologram? So yeah, exactly. What was the Holocaust? Just a war? So the Holocaust wasn't a genocide by your point. Sounds like a hologram denial to me. The eternally based Nick Cruz, let's take a listen.
Genocidal Zionist scumbag Bezalel Smotrich openly brags about how Israel had the best healthcare in the world, which is 100% subsidized by the American taxpayer.
The state of Israel has the best public healthcare system in the world. This is a fact in all parameters.
This is just another reason why Zionism is inherently a treasonous ideology, as Americans suffer from record high medical bankruptcies and often forego medical procedures because of the cost. We are providing and subsidizing healthcare for the genocidal settlers in Israel. Notice how these treasonous Republican scumbags, those like Lindsey Graham, Donald Trump, for example, would smear ordinary Americans as extreme communists because we advocate for free healthcare for Americans. Meanwhile, they have no problem with Israel having free healthcare. These Epstein ruling class scumbags even have the nerve to smear their own people, smear Americans as anti-Semitic because we advocate for our taxpayer money to be spent at home instead of a genocidal apartheid state.
I just like the sound.
I know. What are we thinking? We can't even donate our sperms post-mortem? Where's our goon squad? The Israelis have a goon squad. Where's ours? Sperm patrol. What do they call that?
Have them go dark and still deliver that oil to China. I mean, there's a physical blockade. They literally cannot do that right now.
This is a physical blockade. They're not able to send their oil and the resources to China, and a vast majority of their oil exports were going via sea. To give you a sign of the desperate measures they're contemplating, the Wall Street Journal reported today that they're contemplating measures like suicide dolphins, dolphins equipped with mines to try to go after U.S. ships. So that's not a measure which projects real strength.
This is insane. Did you hear what he just said?
Like suicide dolphins, dolphins. One of the desperate measures they're contemplating, the Wall Street Journal reported today that they're contemplating measures like suicide dolphins, dolphins.
Oh, wow, that is big. If true, suicide dolphins, you say? I'm sure there. What's the political ideology of these suicide dolphins? Is it communism? Where did they find these radical extremist Islamic dolphins to wage the jihad? This is very concerning and big, if true.
Equipped with mines to try to go after U.S. ships. So that's not that's.
She's like, what? Who is this guy? This clown? The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Great. Another neoliberal think tank. He's a senior fellow. The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Wow, what a euphemism. What a buzzword soup that is.
It's not a measure which projects real strength.
Wait, I'm sorry. You have to. How would that even work?
So this has been discussed in the past by.
And notice he didn't even say that they're doing this. It's like, how do you provide evidence that they're contemplating this? They've been thinking this in their. Oh, really? You psychologically, you're inside their minds, and you can glean that they're setting up an arsenal of jihadi dolphins because they're that desperate.
The Iranian regime that
They want to strap bombs to dolphins.
to dolphins with mines to go after U.S. ships. Now,
why would they need to do that? Why would they need to do that? How on earth could they even do that?
that's a pretty crazy asymmetric tool, but this is some of the measures that are being reported right now.
I mean,
yeah, these are the. This is the stuff I was paid to say. Yeah, being reported right now. So it's not true. He's not telling us it's true. He's just saying, well, some are saying. Oh, okay.
Do you think that they could actually try? If they actually tried that, what would that say about their desperation?
Well, this is something that they've thrown out in the past to show the various options they have at their disposal. But again, this is not a show of.
Please tell me, tell me the date, the time, who said it, what was the document, was it a speech, was it an internal IRGC memo? I mean, what is the source for this? Oh, they said it one time.
A country which is strong. You don't contemplate those kinds of measures when you're strong.
You don't contemplate
have them go
those
dark.
kinds. I would say you don't create these propaganda talking points about jihadi dolphins when things are going well. It's you sound a little weak. This is a real far-fetched reach of an idea. You put bombs in dolphins, then you fill whales with oil. Oh, man. They're just playing 5D chess, aren't they? No way this person would have ever killed her husband, by the way. Stop lying. Erica Kirk did nothing wrong. The slander against her is really just undeserving, unearned, out of place, out of touch. You guys really need to get it together. She's just a normal grieving widow. I like how in this video she was like, people are putting on whiteface? Oh my gosh, not only is Erica being accused of all this slander and these crimes, but she's also a victim of racism by a black dude who put on whiteface and made a parody. Okay, I now think Charlie Kirked himself. Nice one. I love this guy. Don't think I've posted this one yet. It says, using AI to time how quick I run a mile.
I'm gonna run a mile and you just time me how long it takes, okay? When I say go.
You got it. I'll be ready. Just say go when you start and I'll keep track.
Okay, ready, go.
All right. I've started timing. Just focus on your run and I'll be here when you get back.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. I've got your time right here. How do you feel about that, Mom?
How long was it? What?
You clocked in at around 10 minutes
10
and 12.
I swear it's faster than that.
Sometimes it feels faster in the moment.
No, like I think I was closer to like 2 seconds.
Oh, if only time worked that way. But I promise I'm giving you the real time.
You timed me for 10 minutes.
I promise I didn't sneak any extra seconds in there. But if you want to go for a shorter, faster
Okay, but
run,
like if you're not able to do this, you can admit it. It's okay.
it's totally okay to double check me. But I promise I'm doing my best. If you ever want a different
So you got
timing-
10 minutes. It took me 10 minutes.
Yep.
I'm gonna run a
That's
mile.
Officer Talmud would never lie to you. Okay, I think. Oh wait, I don't think we've seen this. Javier Milei Accufessing, he says, leftists live off sucking other people's blood. Other people? We're talking about capitalists. We're talking about capitalists that actually do suck everyone's blood. He says they're professional vampires while also moonlighting as a vampire. They never want to work for a living. They're permanently lazy people. Again, a complete bastardization and a projection of actual capitalist values.
Si no damos la batalla cultural que tendremos,
if we give up on the cultural battle, you see? They always talk about the culture war.
4 años de liberalismo, 8 años, 12, 16, 20. Pero esta gente nunca se rinde, porque viven de chuparle la sangre al otro.
This is exactly what you could say to the capitalist class. This is exactly what you can say to the people that he represents.
Son vampiros profesionales. Entonces, digamos, o sea,
he's a jester, you know, he's a jester maxer.
Nunca van
for the Epstein
a
class.
querer laburar. O sea, son vagos permanentes. Entonces, ¿el incentivo cuál es? Siempre.
See, it's just a complete bastardization of the socialist critique of capitalism to just paint everyone as a personally lazy when we're the only class of people that aren't lazy. We're the only class of people that actually are the producers in the economy. We're the only workers. We're literally workers. It's working. It's such an insult, right? He's talking down to people that have to take 2 and 3 jobs just to pay rent and feed their families, telling us we're lazy, that we, you know, should be working more than 80 hours a week or something. Like, we just got to work harder. What? No, we're not lazy. We're tired of being exploited. The people that are actually lazy are the ones that collect checks for their quarterly profit earnings. They just go to the mailbox and get their check in the mail. And they didn't create the surplus value. They're just the shareholders in the stock market for these companies. So it's quite literally a vampiric relationship between owners and workers. There's only one class that produces value.
Chupar sangre de otro. Es decir, porque antes que digamos, recuerden, Marx prefirió que sus hijos se mueran antes.
It's crazy that they're still crying about Marx when we thought that he was like completely irrelevant, you know, completely inconsequential. None of his teachings or his books or his writings ever went anywhere. So why is he still being quoted today by these people? I thought we have free market capitalism. It's going great. Why do you have to still conjure up a boogeyman in Karl Marx?
Antes de ir a laburar. Entonces los tipos son expertos, ¿sí?, en buscar justificaciones para comerle el bolsillo a otra persona.
Yeah, that's someone else's. We're talking about the richest 1%. Did you know that something like 8 people control 90% of the world's resources? 8 people control more wealth than the bottom half of the world population. And that might be an overestimation. Honestly, it might be down to like 4 this year. That was a statistic from Oxfam from 2017. And it's only gotten worse. But yeah, that's you know, something like 8 people have more wealth and control over more resources than the bottom half of the world population, which is 4 billion people. And that is, you know, you say it's an insane statistic. Absolutely. It's one of the only things that really we should, if in a world full of information, where you have to really glean what is relevant, what's not, what's important, what's not, that seems to be the most important statistic to understanding and unlocking all other statistics about our world, all other aspects about our world.
Pero no podemos dejar de dar la batalla cultural, porque si no damos la batalla cultural, ¿qué tendremos? 4 años de liberalismo, 8 años, 12.
All right. I'm surprised he's actually giving a speech and not cosplaying as Mick Jagger.
Honestly, if you are an audience member of Candace who foments this sort of evil, because she makes money off of you. The way she makes money is by spewing trash into the public sphere.
They just always project what they're doing onto their perceived enemies. This guy's made a living off of fomenting rage and division and contempt for our peers and everyone based on cultural distinctions.
Sphere, and then she makes money off it through advertising.
No,
that's how she does it. So if she's monetizing your gullibility, then you are complicit in this nonsense.
Let's turn it off and let's see if I can mime him. Nick Cruz says Cori Bush is a pro-NATO politician who sent billions of dollars to Nazis in Ukraine while leaving the homies in St. Louis with nothing. That's true. Nick should know. He's from Missouri. She did so because Biden told her to. Quote, Cori Bush is not a leader, but watch Hassan Piker say nothing about her pro-war votes. Hetty Liger says, is this what is to be done?
If you're mad that there's never enough money for healthcare in this country, but unlimited funds to bomb other countries, well, you have an opportunity to make that change. You have an opportunity to let your voice be heard. For far too long, people...
For far too long. Let's retire that phrase. Don't inject these cliche ways of speaking like a machine politician.
People have been told, myself included, that we have to vote for harm reduction. We have to vote.
This is just crazy to me. He's ostensibly criticizing those who say we have to vote for harm reduction as he's advocating for voting for harm reduction. Oh my goodness. It's just the hypocrisy.
Because we have to vote against the Republican Party. We all know the Republican Party is bad. But you now have...
Look at those dainty hands. That man's never worked a forklift in his life. I bet he doesn't know how to get his way around a warehouse.
You have an opportunity to vote for something. And not just Chris, but you have an opportunity to vote for Medicare for all, knowing full well that he's going to fight that battle for you. You have an opportunity to vote for a jobs guarantee, endless.
Look, you can vote out the policies and the people that are in charge. And
this militarism.
All you got to do is vote for the party that is owned by those very people.
Ending the endless militarism to make sure that every single dollar that we spend on new ways to murder children overseas can be spent here taking care of our...
Yeah, and all that was done by the Democrats. The Democrat, I mean, it's like, it's fine. Everything that he's saying, I would agree with. You know, if it wasn't for the advancement of a political candidate with a D next to their name, because everything that he's talking about is precisely, can be laid at the feet of the Democratic Party. It's exactly what they're guilty of doing.
Children, taking care of your family members, to make sure that instead of spending all that money blowing up schools overseas, we spend that money on building schools right here. And this is a universal value that many of you share, and that's precisely the reason why the vote that you cast is not just for Philadelphia, it's not just for Pennsylvania, it's not just for even places like myself in Los Angeles, California. It's for people overseas as well. It's for everybody else.
I mean, if that was like a Butch Ware campaign rally, it would lend some credence to it, because he's not a representative of the Democratic Party. feel like he should be interviewing Green Party candidates. If that's your thing, you want to go endorse candidates and lend support to, political parties. Like, let's establish a new one. It's not popular to advocate for a new political party. Okay, I get that. It's a new and fragile thing. I mean, the Green Party faces a national media blackout by the Democrats and the Republicans. They're underrepresented. He claims to champion underrepresented working class people. So why not champion an underrepresented working class party? It's much easier to hitch your wagon to something that's old and powerful than get a shovel and start digging for, and building something that's new and fragile. But it's like that's the hard Band-Aid that needs to be ripped off right now. We have to make something else stronger. We can't keep buying into this two-party system, corporate duopoly owned by Zionists. Who fucked Lady Liberty? I'll tell you. It was Jeffrey Epstein. And I don't like that baby's future. I don't think Hassan is the enemy. I'm saying that I disagree with his praxis at this point. And like I said, I've been a Hassan fan for years. I like Hassan. He's extremely likable. He's extremely knowledgeable. He's cool as fuck, But this is not something that I can, say, oh yeah, this is good. If I disagree, I'm going to tell you. I can't show those guns. Mario Nawful says, anti-Semitism is becoming a very serious global issue. Oh, wait, we already looked at that. I said from Elon's anus to Mario's mouth. All right, I think that's all the reposts that I have to show you. Everyone has a weakness. Vampires don't like sunlight. Superman doesn't like kryptonite. And Israelis don't like peace. Except for a piece of Lebanon. A piece of Syria. A piece of Egypt. We saw that Israeli forces detain child with Down syndrome. Pretty despicable. Everything that Israel does is despicable and depraved. You're still trying to share this academic, arcane, intellectual type. And look, let's see. How many minutes is this?
For example,
Oh, it's only 5 minutes. Okay, that's all right. That's not bad. But I don't trust that face. Seems too studious. All right, now Saeed's got something for us. I think I know Mr. Quigley, don't I? 15-minute video on 1.5x speed means that it's under 15 minutes now.
Doesn't Israel have a right to exist? No. Wait.
Oh, that was a short
Wait.
story.
Hold on. Now, before somebody accuses me of calling for genocide, which I am explicitly not, I should probably elaborate a little bit. Although I do think it's kind of weird that me saying these words with my mouth is considered genocidal by some, but those same people would say that literally carpet bombing densely populated residential areas and civilian infrastructure, killing tens of thousands of children and starving hundreds of thousands more is not genocide. Genocide? Not genocide. Genocide? Not genocide. Get it? Yeah, me neither. Anyway, moving on. When people ask me this question, doesn't Israel have a right to exist? My initial reaction is to say, who the fuck are you and how did you get into my house? No, see, this is my house now. It was promised to me 3,000 years ago. According to who? Well, according to this book. Well, who wrote the book? Well, I did. Oh, yeah, well, that's kind of convenient then, isn't it? And the question itself, doesn't Israel have a right to exist, bothers me and strikes me as fundamentally how do I put this? Fucking stupid. Because it seems to imply that not only does Israel have the right to exist as a specifically Jewish ethno-state, but also the right to exist in its current specific location and to exist forever.
I feel like we should just relocate them to the moon because it's not, that's not settled yet. Maybe we could colonize Mars like Elon Musk wants. Thank you, Volrose, for stepping up and gifting another 5 memberships to the stream. You are a gentleman and a scholar and a saint and an angel all wrapped up in one, and I appreciate that.
And that its existence is unconditional.
And doom the moon people. Yeah. You think there's life on the moon? There's water on the moon, isn't there? Gosh, the universe is so big. Have y'all ever thought about how big the universe is? It's massive. I mean, I don't know how to tell you this, but we're like really small in the grand scheme of things.
And it should continue to exist no matter what kind of evil, heinous
The moon people did nothing wrong. Gay raves on the moon win.
shit the Israeli government or its citizenry might do. I mean, do we think of other countries in this way? Do all countries and all governments have the right to exist regardless of where they are or how they behave? But then if all countries have a right to exist...
Destro, who the fuck are you talking to? You talking to me, son? I wrote the book on writing books and reading them. So... coming at me sideways, and I don't appreciate that.
Then didn't Palestine have a right to exist before it was invaded by a bunch of Israeli settlers? What right to exist does Israel currently enjoy that the country of Palestine did not enjoy?
Do you have any suggestions, Destro, or are you just trying to be a bitch in the chat right now? What book should I read? What am I missing? Should I read a cookbook? Should I read a political book? Should I read Clifford the Big Red Dog? I mean, what are you into? You know, there's all kinds of books. Stumpy, I actually wrote that. Thus answering the age-old eternal question, who wrote the book on love? Well, that would be me. Cover to cover, time to time, you know the thing, man. He wants me to read the Talmud. The little that I have read of the Talmud, no thank you. Okay, I guess he doesn't have any suggestions. He just says, hey, read a book from time to time.
For the, 12 to 1300 years that it existed before it was invaded by non-Palestinians. And for these things and these groups and these governments that have a right to exist, is that right to exist unconditional? Or are there things that those groups of people might do that would render their right to exist non-existent? What if, hypothetically, if I, as a person with the right to exist, were to dive headfirst into a fucking wood chipper? Would I still have the right to exist? Probably. Would it matter anymore? Absolutely not. And in the same way, if I, hypothetically, as an individual, were to drop more explosives by weight on a densely populated residential area than was dropped on Hiro friggin' Shima, or committed tens of thousands of war crimes over an entire century against non-combatant civilians, or instigated constant wars of aggression against all of my neighbors, is there a point where my right to exist would no longer be worth a good goddamn? And furthermore, does the right to exist mean that you have the right to freeload off of other people in perpetuity? Does my right to exist entitle me to live on your mom's couch rent-free and eat all of her food and just basically...
Hey, I feel attacked. Whoa, 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 whoa. Because the answer is yes to that.
Be a mooch? No. My right to exist does not entitle me to that. But the absolutely god-tier dick-giving that I give to her every single night absolutely does. But unlike me and your mom...
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Real recognize real. Oh my goodness. I've met my match. The dick giving. He did the rap thing. That's my joke. Damn. Who is this guy? I don't like him at all. I hate this
is
guy.
a series of pederast, Moloch-worshipping, kitty-diddling billionaires. The point I'm getting at is this. The question of whether or not Israel has a right to exist is ignorant at best and disingenuous at worst. It smacks of Israeli exceptionalism and Jewish supremacy. And let me tell you, brother, I have had just about enough of both of those things. Thank you very much. So for the duration of this video, I am going to respond in no particular order to some of the more common arguments that I hear in favor of Israel's right to exist, so that you and I might be...
Aw, womp womp. A guy calls himself Lego Maniac is calling me a man-child. Okay, Lego Maniac. I'll take the bait. And I will ask you, have you tried crying?
in a better position to respond.
Thank you, White Crow. That is incredibly generous of you. Thank you for the good dick.
The next time we hear that kind of thing. And to kick things off, I'd like to start with one of the least controversial arguments in favor of Israel's right to exist. Israel has a right to exist because of the Holocaust. Couldn't give a shit. Couldn't give a single goddamn solitary shit about...
Is my mic really low, or is your volume turned low? What is wrong with my microphone? Are you the only one?
The Holocaust anymore. Whatever goodwill the Jewish people were entitled to as a consequence of being victimized by the Holocaust is completely gone at this point, as far as I'm concerned. You were handed a blank friggin' check, and you squandered. No more, okay? No more. Not after Gaza, not after Afghanistan, or Iraq, or all of the other...
My mic is too low. Let's see. Let's see. Check this shit out, tough guy. Thanks for telling me like 3 hours into the stream, you assholes. What about now? It's probably like really loud now. Check, check. Oh. Wait, is it? It's not working now, is it? Can you still hear me? It's weird because it's not registering on OBS, but it is registering on StreamYard. Now, I would ask you, is my voice doubled? Okay, sounds good. All right, you guys are, it's the same volume? No double. All right, that's good. Thank you. I can try and turn it up more if you want me to. Just have to click on the gain. This might be a little bit louder, perhaps. I could also, it might be something I could switch on StreamYard as well. Let's see. I could go like this. Does this might help. Now you're saying my voice was louder than the video, so I don't know who to trust. Well, I turned up the microphone, and not only on StreamYard, but also on... It's my clip volume.
Okay. Middle East wars that you've lied us into. Not after JFK, not after Rabbi Shmuley and his weird pubic hair beard and his constant whining and his incestual sex.
Saeed, I will never forgive you for making me watch this.
Toy fetish thing with his daughter, whatever's going on.
Thank you, Saeed. All right, I'll unpause it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it paused now, just because you said that. And now we're just going to get into a staring contest.
On there, I don't want to know. No more, okay? You're done. You're cut off. The Holocaust gravy train has left the station. And that assumes, by the way, that everything I've ever been told about the Holocaust is completely 100% true, which, like... Look, I wasn't there, okay? I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure that something happened. I have some questions. But don't get it twisted, okay? I'm not a Holocaust denier, okay? YouTube, I am not denying that the Holocaust happened. But whatever questions or doubts that I may have about the Holocaust, I am reasonably certain of one thing, and that is that the Palestinians had absolutely nothing to do with it. So why then should they have to give up their land and suffer 100 years of brutality and indignity and degradation for something that they had nothing to do with. If I get robbed at gunpoint, I am not then justified in going out and robbing some other random person at gunpoint. That isn't justice. That's just me perpetuating further injustice. So the Israelis taking away land from the Palestinians because of the Holocaust has never made any sense to me. And while we're on the subject of the Holocaust, I would like to very quickly hear from a person who survived the Holocaust, someone whose grandparents were killed in the Holocaust, Dr. Gabor Mate.
I'm sure you've heard this statement before. The Hebrew word for the Holocaust is Shoah, and there's an old saying, there's no business like Shoah business. It's been exploited to the hilt, and I'm somebody whose grandparents died in Auschwitz, who nearly ended up there myself, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about it, not because didn't happen, but because what it has been pressed into the service of. Much of the intention of the Holocaust academia has got nothing to do with trying to change the world's relationship to cruelty and unfairness. It's to establish a sense of Jewish exceptionalism so that we're the perpetual victims and that everything we do is justified, everything that's done to us is an outrage. So teaching about the Holocaust teaches nobody anything. You can preach about morality in the service of the most nefarious causes. And that's what we're seeing right now.
Let it be known, YouTube, that I do not hate Jewish people, and I do not hold individual Jewish people accountable for the misbehavior and war crimes of the Israeli government. I stand proudly in solidarity with the very small but very vocal minority of Jewish people who are standing up and saying something about this criminal apartheid state in Israel. People like Gabor Mate and Brett Weinstein and Dave Smith and Norman Finkelstein. These men and women inherited the same exact intergenerational trauma as the rest of the Jewish population, and yet they did not allow it to turn them into genocidal psychopaths. Point being, no one's allowed to invoke the Holocaust anymore. Okay, we're done. Clean slate, we're starting over. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't care anymore. I have reached peak Holocaust fatigue. There have been many, many, many other genocides throughout history, including the one that the Israeli government is perpetuating right now. And they are all terrible, and they all should not have happened. So, point being, you're not special, okay? What else you got? Israel is our ancestral
Wow, this guy's deeply anti-Semitic.
homeland. We were there first.
He doesn't think the Jews are special?
First of all, no. You are not the original inhabitants of that land. The original inhabitants, according to your own holy book, were the tribes of Canaan. And you stole the land from them, again, according to your own holy book, after you butchered them mercilessly. Men, women, children, and livestock. A time-honored tradition of land acquisition through genocide that the Israelites continue to this very day. And this is why it's especially...
That's true. Does he have to be wearing a Tesla shirt? I really like this guy.
gross for Netanyahu to explicitly...
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Thank you, Saeed. That's incredibly generous of you. Appreciate you, homie.
Reference Amalek, one of the Canaanite
yeah, what is... It's got no E in it? Is that still Tesla? It's
tribes which were slaughtered by the Israelites in the Old Testament, and use that as justification for his brutality against Palestinian children. But even if we were to concede the point and say, okay, your great-great-grandparents murdered a bunch of women and children and stole their land, and so that, for some reason, gives you entitlement to the land that they stole. I'm not saying that, but...
Look, I can fix him, okay? He's done a lot of work up to this point. We can get him to the finish line.
Hypothetically speaking. The other problem is that a bunch of Jewish people are not of the direct lineage of Abraham and Isaac. Okay, you can become Jewish through marriage. You can become Jewish through conversion. So even if we were to say that some of you have some claim to that land based on bloodline lineage, which, again, I am not saying.
This guy's being incredibly generous to the Jewish narrative.
That claim would certainly not extend to anyone who joined the Tiny Hat Club through conversion.
Wait, that's my thing. I did the Tiny Hat Club. I'm pretty sure I came up with the Tiny Hat Club a couple years ago. I made a whole sketch about it. We called it, THC, Tiny Hat Club. This guy's stealing my material. And the mom jokes. This is just too much for me. This is too much for me.
Which brings me to Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump converted to Orthodox Judaism in 2009 before her marriage to Jared Kushner and is of Czech and German descent. I would say that she doesn't have any Jew in her at all, but she does get about 2.5 inches every now and again whenever Jared can take a break from drinking the blood of innocent Gazan children from a golden chalice. But regardless of her ethnicity, she is officially recognized as Jewish by the rabbinic authority in Israel. My favorite part of this is that apparently the chief rabbis of Israel had to change the standards by which people are considered Jewish in order for Ivanka specifically to qualify.
What? According to the new proposed plan, her conversion will be certified without the need for additional checks. Right this way, Ivanka. We're going to speed run you through the Jewish certification process. What? It's the VIP status. It just lets you know this shit's all phony. At the end of the day, it's just about how much money you have, how much political power you have.
But
Israeli activists say the sudden policy change appears to be an attempt to curry favor. Yeah, you think? With the new U.S. president.
She is, apparently. Which means if there was a dispute over land in Palestine between Ivanka Trump, this absolute Aryan master race of a blonde woman with absolutely no Semitic lineage whatsoever, and any average Palestinian who can trace their bloodline in Palestine back for 1,300 years, well, according to Israel, that contest would go to Ivanka Trump. Hands down. Which, pardon my French, is really fucking stupid. Hey there, folks. Future John here, finishing up the editing for this video. Just wanted to pop in and let you know that I
slimy.
am apparently currently being actively monitored by the Israeli intelligence community.
Based.
A friend of mine just sent me these Google Trend screenshots that apparently shows that my full legal name has been searched at least twice by somebody in Israel.
Your last name is redacted? Jonathan Redacted?
Since I started making content about the Israeli government, which is great. Yay. Now, I don't know how conclusive this is. It could be a coincidence, but just in case it's true, I wanted to take this opportunity to say hello to the Mossad agents who are taking time out of their very...
Alex, I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul, because I do not get this joke. But you, on the other hand, find it incredibly hilarious. And, so, yeah, doing great.
Busy schedule murdering Palestinian and Lebanese children to work my case. It's very kind of you. I also wanted to say on camera to everybody watching that I am not suicidal. I very much enjoy being alive. I am blessed with many good people in my life who love me very, very much and who put up with my bullshit. And my current plan is to stay alive as long as I possibly can so that I can continue.
So crazy, right? That we're living in this world where common everyday people who start YouTube channels could be like, just to let you guys know, I really enjoy life. This shit's wild, man. This timeline,
Continue to annoy those people with my chicanery and tomfoolery. So if anything...
That's my word, too. I say chicanery. Nobody says chicanery. That's my word. Who else is saying chicanery on a nightly basis? And tomfoolery, by the way. I usually group those words together. This is very suspect.
That happens to me, then...
I thought I was the only one that knew chicanery. I know chicanery because I'm from New Orleans. And we like... We like that in our coffee.
I guess we know. Now, I also wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you to everyone who watched and liked and commented on my last video. As of the time of this recording, it's sitting just under 140,000 views. You know, before I launched that video, I was sitting at like 100 subscribers, and most of them were family and friends.
That's
and now
awesome.
I'm sitting at 4,700 subscribers. I don't even know what to say to that, guys. And I'm not just going to say it was thanks to the algorithm, because all of you good people who watched it and commented on it and gave me feedback, I have you to thank for that. And I'm very grateful and humbled for that. Anyways, enough of that. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. And yeah, let's get back to the video.
But Israel needs that land so that Jewish people have a place to be safe.
This one is by far the most clinically insane, batshit, bug nuts, crazy argument of all of them. So let me get this straight. You needed a place for the Jewish people to be safe, somewhere where they would not be an oppressed minority among other people, right? And out of everywhere on the entire planet, you picked a piece of land that already had 1.3 million Muslims living in it, and that was surrounded by 40 to 50 million other Muslims in the greater Middle East. And then you decided to spend the next 100 years killing, torturing, raping, and humiliating every Muslim that you could get your grubby little fingers on. And this was your plan?
You know, it makes me think that they imposed the framework of this religious distinction because, you know, they set the conditions like, oh no, we're Jews and they're Muslims, so that's the antagonism that we need to acknowledge and you know, act upon. But like, you know, obviously we've been talking about this for years now. Welcome to the Talmudic malaise. Wow. Interesting. It's very colorful. I had no idea.
To keep the Jewish people safe? This is like deciding to take your family on a picnic in the middle of an active minefield. It would have been safer to build Israel on the bottom of the ocean or the surface of the goddamn sun, rather than in the middle of millions of ideologically aligned people that you decided to mistreat and abuse for decades. Even if I were to concede that Jewish people, whoever or whatever they are, have the right to establish their own country, which I don't.
Look at this fucking knob. He's obviously 20 minutes behind the stream. He thinks he's still being relevant. No, you're just being a knob, really.
Necessarily concede. It is obvious and self-evident at this point that having that homeland in Palestine is not safe. It is the opposite of safe. It is anti-safe. And it's not only unsafe for the Jewish people that are living there, but because of this constant brutality and war crimes and evil that has been perpetuated there, it has generated a great deal of very understandable animosity towards the other Jewish people around the planet, including...
What are you fucking talking about? Don't be so easily distracted. You're tone copying me on my live stream. I like being distracted, thank you very much. I enjoy it. The whole point of doing a live stream is to interact with the chatters, to take in the comments. So the whole point is to be distracted. I really don't like this guy.
Again, the very vocal minority of Jewish people who are anti-Zionist and who have been speaking out against Israeli war crimes for many years. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the idea that the Jewish homeland being where it is, making Jewish people...
Take this comment. Oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Safe. Has absolutely no foundation whatsoever in reality land. And if someone chooses to shoot themselves in the foot with a nail gun over and over and over again, there's only so much sympathy that I can have for you. At some point, I have to stop caring. And I'm kind of there. And I've kind of been there for a while now. Anyway, what else you got?
Palestine was just a desert before the Israelis got there. Ooh.
So this one gets packaged up as the Jewish people made better use of the land in Palestine than the Palestinians did, and so they were therefore justified in stealing it. Israelis like to build and Arabs like to bomb, right? Or no, what's the other one? It's a land without a people for a people without a land, right? Well, first of all, Palestine was not a land without a people. There were 1.3 million Palestinians living there before the Nakba. And Palestine had a rich and beautiful culture before being colonized, as expertly captured by one of the Arab world's first prominent photographers, Khalil Rad. By the way, highly recommend you look him up. I'm going to show a handful of his pictures here, but there are way, way more, and they're all beautiful. And second of all, it may be true that Palestine was not a wealthy country before being colonized, but on the other hand, they didn't have Baron Edmund de friggin' Rothschild and the Jewish National Fund dumping boatloads of money into developing their infrastructure. I bet if they had that kind of money to play with, they could have done some cool stuff with it. But regardless, this line of reasoning implies that if you can make better use of somebody else's property, you are justified in stealing it, which is the textbook foundation of colonialism. This way of thinking dates back to John Locke in the late 1600s and his Second Treatise of Government, which argued that land that isn't actively being used or developed in some European agricultural or industrial sense is not actually owned by anybody and is eligible to be taken over and occupied by whoever is willing to work on it. This informed the legal doctrine of terra nullius, which was the primary legal mechanism used to justify the British colonization of Australia, as well as the colonization of America and the genocide of the indigenous peoples of both of those continents. In more common terms, let me put it to you this way. If your family owned 10 acres of land that you weren't maybe doing a whole lot with, you weren't actively developing it for any industrial purposes, would Sam Altman be justified in kicking you off of that land and stealing it to build an OpenAI data center? Or how about this? If you drive to work every morning by yourself in a 4-seater sedan, would a family of 4 be justified in stealing it from you at gunpoint because, technically speaking, they can use it more efficiently? Obviously not. In either case, the efficiency with which a piece of property is being used has absolutely nothing to do with the legitimacy of property rights, or at least it shouldn't. We left that way of thinking behind a long time ago in terms of colonizing by force. And it's probably a good thing that we did.
I love a good malapropism. This is all a mute point. Might will always be right. It's part of the human condition. Duh. I know you're being facetious, and I agree with your overall point, but it's moot point. M-O-O-T. The point is mute, by the way. I'm not picking on you. I think it's kind of funny. It's just
that.
One
anyway,
of those things.
What else you got?
Israel wants peace, but the Palestinians keep choosing terrorism.
First of all, there is a very, 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 very well documented history of the Israeli government directly funding and empowering Hamas. Starting in the 1970s.
It's not a malapropism? What is it then? Malapropism. Malapropism is the mistaken, often humorous use of a word in a place of a similar sounding one, resulting in a nonsensical phrase. Yes, it is a malapropism, you fucker. You tried to big time me and you lost because I'm the people's champ. That is a malapropism. And now I would like you to give me my own malaprops. Please. I'll wait.
Israeli officials directly financed the Muslim Brotherhood-connected Islamic resistance movement, which would eventually become Hamas.
Okay, all right. Now you see, I can accept that. Your apology is accepted. And we can leave it at that.
In a deliberate attempt to counterweight the Palestine Liberation Organization, or PLO. And the Netanyahu administration continued this well into the late 2010s through direct...
I mean, you probably should. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, and he's more handsome anyway, so I can't
financial
argue.
Payments to Hamas, as much as $15 million per transaction in the form of literal suitcases full of cash. During an interview with one of Israel's largest mainstream newspapers, Gershon Hakohen, former IDF general and personal associate of Netanyahu, said the following.
Yeah, mine as well. I thought, I think at one point I thought it was M-I-N-E, mine as well. But it's might as well.
Quote, Netanyahu
happens to the best of us.
Netanyahu's strategy is to prevent the option of 2 states. So he is turning Hamas into his closest partner. Openly, Hamas is an enemy. Covertly, it's an ally. So in other words, for the past 50 to 60 years, the Israeli government has been directly and deliberately funding and propping up a terrorist organization for the purposes of maintaining controlled opposition. As long as Hamas is the face of Palestine, it justifies the kind of brutal tactics that the Israeli government uses against the Palestinian population generally, and it makes it a lot easier to deny them statehood. So this whole Israel just wants peace line is demonstrably false. But regardless of that, even if the Israelis weren't propping up Hamas, which they are, Palestinians have no interest in being under a Jewish apartheid regime. You can't occupy and brutalize people against their will for 100 years and then be shocked when they inevitably fight back. Gaza
You can't do that.
is essentially the largest open-air prison on the planet, which would make Hamas less of a terrorist organization and more like the largest prison gang that is fighting for its freedom. This whole subject of Israel funding Hamas and propping them up is a very, very, very deep rabbit hole and has many implications for October 7th, but I'm not going to be able to do justice for it in this video. Maybe I'll do another video about that at some point. If you'd have interest in that subject,
Irretardless, yeah. That's a good malaprop.
let me know down in the comments. Anyway, folks, in conclusion, I would like to reiterate that while I am very critical of the Israeli government and the Zionist project more generally, I do not hate Jewish people. I do not hate anyone for immutable characteristics, but I do reserve the right to judge them for their behavior. And this includes passing judgment on groups that decide to self-associate based on their ethnicity. It's not my fault that they're doing this, and they're...
Wait, this guy doesn't hate Jewish people? So he's anti-Zionist?
citing their ethnicity as justification. That is what is happening, and I'm just calling it out for what it is. But
obviously the joke is that Zionists hate the Jays.
Regardless of all that, I am a peaceful person. I am not calling for violence. I do not wish harm on anyone, and certainly not because of immutable characteristics. I don't know what the solution to this problem is, okay? And I'm not pretending like I do. I'm just expressing my frustration with the level of entitlement and hypocrisy that I see when it comes to Israel and the people who defend Israel. I'm sure that there are...
That's really nice, Alex. Thank you for the kind comment. Take note, chatters. This is what is called respect and love and appreciation. And it's something that you could learn from Alex.
Other arguments in favor of Israel's existence that I didn't have time to get to. If there are and you're aware of them and you'd like for me to talk about them, let me know down in the comments. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video at some point. Also,
wow, well, geez, tell me what you really think. You prefer my dull voice and mediocre jokes. Cool. That doesn't sound like a compliment.
If you disagree with any of the points that I made, or if I got anything wrong, let me know down in the comments. I'm not above admitting when I get stuff wrong. And once again, thank you for the overwhelming amount of support on my last video. I'm stunned at the...
Well, you know what? I hate you, and I love Cedar Down Under for gifting 20 memberships to the YouTube Live. Are you kidding me? You are an absolute gem. Thank you for making my night. That's awesome.
Amount of views and subscriptions that came as a result of that. I'm very humbled by that.
All right, so this guy, Mr. Quigley, I had never heard of. There is another Quigley that I follow on YouTube, but it's not this guy. But well done. 128,000 views, 4,000 comments. Wow. Good job, dude. I gave him a follow. Good stuff. Let's shill him out to the peoples right now, since you all think he's better than me. There you go. Follow him. We need more voices. We need more eyeballs. Balls. We need more balls of eyes on this. Don't we? Reminder again that these are not Met police officers. They are IDF-trained Jewish vigilantes known as the Shomrim. Oh, yes, the private Jewish police. The Gestapo. I think in Brooklyn. Don't they operate? I guess they operate in many Jewish communities throughout Europe and North America, posing as police without any standardized training or accountability. Yeah, that sounds pretty Jewish to me. Oh my lord! Holy shit! I'm a little bit. I don't know if I should share that. That's incredibly alarming. Trigger warning. As you can see, what the hell is this? I wonder what that was. It says we must stand with Zach Polanski at this critical moment. The establishment and their minions are telling us to reject the evidence of our eyes and ears. I guess that was the guy being attacked. I think that was in London. Oops. I shouldn't be here. I should be back here. Okay, double down news. Abby Martin went to Israel. I feel like we saw this before.
The whole world has to isolate this rogue apartheid.
Yeah, we've seen that. Seen this. Let's see, what is this? Israeli tourist behaves defiantly and insults pro-Palestinian protesters in Tokyo. Well, you know what I would say to that? Cry harder, please. Please, for me. It gives me joy. Zionist tears are actually very refreshing, very therapeutic, very beneficial to the longevity of your health. Look at that. Very good. Dance away. Look, this guy just wanted to dance. This Mexican, he was just wanting to dance. Arriba! I mean, you know, it could be good. I wish I could dance like that.
Today was the 50th birthday of the Israeli Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, and he was celebrating with his wife. Now look at the cake. Look at his cake.
It's a fucking noose. This guy, my God.
Mazal tov l'sar Ben-Gvir.
These people have no culture. They have no traditions. They have no heritage. There's nothing to celebrate for Israelis except death and sadism. It's their whole culture. It imbues and informs every aspect of their lives, including their birthdays and birthday cakes. A death cult, exactly. Jesus Christ.
Good luck to Minister Ben-Gvir. What else does the cake say? Oh, hold on.
Probably D to
I
A.
have an image. I have a close-up of the cake. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what the cake says. Mazal tov l'sar Ben-Gvir. Good luck to the Minister Ben-Gvir. Lifamim chalomot mitgashmim. Sometimes dreams come true with a hanging rope.
This is their dream. Their wet dream revenge fantasy.
Imagine someone twisted to a level where he will have that as a birthday cake.
Yeah. Obviously, that's a reference to the recent Knesset ruling that implemented death sentences to Palestinian detainees. So that's what they're celebrating there.
Birthdays, they resemble life. They remind you the day that you were born.
Yeah.
Any person with an ounce of reflection,
decency,
right? They will
dignity,
think, wow, how life passes. You're born, and other people were born. And how were you born? As a result of what, right? How many people were combined in the lineage, right? You go back to the
Oh, I thought, like, what? How many people? I thought it was just my mom and my dad. Who else was present? Was it a gangbang? What does he know that I don't know about my
parents
birth?
and great grandparents, and you think about people across the world. And then you have the Israeli Minister of National Security celebrating with a cake with a hanging rope.
I see what you did there, Saeed. Yes, I agree. I hope so too. Yeah, because like he could be acquiescing. He could be sort of sealing his fate, right? Symbolically, this could actually... Don't ask for who the noose calls for. The noose calls for thee.
Because his dream came true. What is that dream? That dream is, capital punishment is back officially. Capital, as if it didn't exist, in Israel. It's all a joke. It already existed. They kill people in the streets. Israel murders, slaughters, kidnaps, kills, rapes, whatever you can think about. They do it. And they still do it to this day. But now it's become like law. But only for, non-Jews. It doesn't apply on Jewish people. Yeah, because according to the law, you need to actually do something to delegitimize the state of Israel and go against like what is called the Jewish state. So it's not applicable.
You've been poisoned? With what? What's going on?
Applicable for Jewish people.
I had a nasty stomach bug a couple weeks ago. I ate some oysters and I got something called the norovirus. And I never throw up, but I was throwing up. It was bad. So I guess you could say I got food poisoning too. And then before that, I hurt my back. And then a couple days ago, I was making a clip of the stream to share on YouTube, and I saw this really weird moment where I was looking at the camera, and because I have these noise-canceling headphones, I can't... to me, I think I'm making no noises. Whoops. See, and I was moving like this, and I was like trying to, like, because my back, it still hurts, it's like got some deep-seated problems there that I'm still working through, but I'm healing. But so I did this and I was like, oh, but like to somebody that was watching me that didn't know what was going on, it was like, oh, this guy just fart. I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Like the people watching me must have thought, like, I don't know what they thought. But yeah, I was stretching my back, and like every time I do this, like it actually really hurts, like just to arch my back. It's like my upper back is got some tissue damage or something. And I'm told that takes a little bit longer to I will not clip that now. I know I do sound like an old man. Well, I did turn 40 like last month, so there's that. But yeah, it actually happened before I turned 40 when hurt my back, but it's taking a long time. I really hope that it heals, because I've had to sleep on the couch, which is it has firmer. It's just better. Like, I don't wake up in pain as much. But if I try to sleep in my bed, I can't do it. I'll wake up at like 4 a.m. and I'll be like, oh God, it's like, fuck.
That law, to be honest with you, like the likelihood of it passing, the legal mechanisms, but he wants these
Yeah, me and JD Vance on the couch. That's right, you sick fuck.
things
How dare
for
you?
a show. That's what he wants primarily. To show people, like, look.
Thank you, Phoenix. I appreciate that. Sciatica. I haven't heard of that. Shekels for therapy. Appreciate it. Okay, well, good night. I appreciate you. I know I said appreciate rapid fire like 5 times, but it's true. I can't think of a better word. I'm sorry. Okay. But yeah, I Googled it, and apparently like the muscles in my back have healed, but it's like the tissue underneath it. I feel like the maybe the joints that are connected, because I can feel it in my ribs. It's like my ribs, the back of my ribs hurt. So I'm told that, normally it would take like 6 weeks, but it might be a couple months of me trying to recover from this. Yeah, I bet. I know it's all downhill from here, as they say, but I'm trying to preserve the health that I do have. Obviously, I feel good. I feel good about life, given everything. I mean, I know that's kind of a contradiction there, but I'm just saying I'm happy to still have my health and, be able to do things that I feel like give me purpose and provide value to the world. So I'm here, and I'm thankful to be living another day.
I'm hanging Palestinians. I'm hanging Arabs. And he loved it to a level where he'll put it on his birthday cake. Imagine.
Yeah, Merkin, I'm kind of scared to get a chiropractor because I feel like they're just going to hurt me more. So I'm not sure about that. And plus, like, a chiropractor in this economy? I'm very much apprehensive about going to see so-called experts about anything in this political economy, because I know once I even just pose the question, it's like, that'll be $500. Oh, yeah, you know what? You also have this is wrong with you, and that, so... Get a Thai massage? Okay. What's that? What's so good about that? I probably should get a massage too. Probably would help.
How twisted you need to be to put that as a birthday cake.
The creepy old male guy that should be my chiropractor. They're the best. Yeah, sure thing. Salad noodles. Right. Salad Noodles said this was okay.
I think, okay, yeah, happy birthday, Dad. Happy birthday, Mom. Happy birthday, something. But happy birthday, and then, happy birthday, hanging rope. Happy birthday, death. Might as well said happy death day or something. And start waiting for your demise rather than anything. And look at his wife. She's celebrating, as in his wife is, by the way, more genocidal than him. They're proudly laughing about it and celebrating. Mazal tov. Mazal tov, imagine. And a hanging rope. Imagine, and then, I love to compare because we need to compare, right? We need to give them a reality check. We need to be the mirror in their...
Nuru massage. Okay, well, I'll take a look at it.
ugly face. Imagine an Iranian minister had a birthday party with a hanging rope. They come up with fabricated stories about Iran hanging like girls and what have you, when they haven't even questioned anyone involved in the child raping pedophile network of Epstein that the American president is mentioned in X amounts of times. Some reports say over 37,000 times, with pictures of him with Epstein. So they'll fabricate stuff with it.
Oh, you guys are being sick and dirty. You know something? You really need to get your mind out of the gutter. Rathbone Saeed cheated on me with Jake Shields? What's that supposed to mean? Is this true, Saeed? Thank you, Merkin. I appreciate that. That's fake news, Destro. You're on thin ice, Destro. You better watch
leaders.
it.
They're hanging people, and look who's talking. Like the United States. How many people do they kill, by the way? Without due diligence, you know how many people in the United States are sentenced to death?
You know, I've learned in all of our time together that we've shared, Saeed, to never, never trust you, and for that matter, any Arabian Peninsulist. That's not a word. Saeed's in the Arabian Peninsula. We know that much. We just don't know quite
Being
where.
innocent. Not sufficient evidence against them. So if that was an Iranian minister, you'd see everything. Oh my goodness. It will be plastered on mainstream media, plastered on the...
These goddamn headphones, man. Every time I adjust it, it's thinks I'm stopping the video. Oh, great. Now it disconnected. Awesome. Can y'all hear that little voice, that AI voice from the... Can y'all hear that? I'm really curious.
Pages of every news outlet in the world.
Yes, they're new. You can't hear the AI voice. Okay. It's like this little voice. It's like, you have 16 hours left of battery life.
Look at them. They're backward. They're psychopaths. They're radicals.
I'm hearing voices in my head. Tiny voices.
But when it comes to them, no. And that's why we're here.
Can y'all can't hear the voices in my head? Wow. So loud. And violent.
To highlight this birthday party, ladies and gentlemen, look at him giving his wife a kiss on the head. Mazal tov v'la Ben Gvir sometime.
Oh, there's something going on that we don't know about, okay? Jake was there, he was streaming. Okay, I see what's going on. So you hopped into somebody else's live stream when you knew that would upset me? You knew that I was streaming and you didn't give preferential treatment to your one and only #1 streamer? I don't know how I'm going to recover from this, Saeed, but I'll have to manage.
Dreams come true, and now you can hang people legally. And look at him; he's having fun. Look at him. He's enjoying. He's blushing even.
Dude, this is like a 15-minute clip on a reacting to a video that's 4 seconds long.
Good afternoon. Major news organizations, including Reuters, have been accused of deliberately downplaying key facts in their coverage of a recent stabbing incident in North London to fit a preferred narrative. On April 29th, British national of Somali origin Essa Suleiman stabbed 3 people in separate attacks on the same day.
Suleiman, that was Suleiman?
He faces 3 counts of attempted murder. 2 victims.
But seriously, who's Jake Shield? Okay, now I just don't even understand. Jake Shield is I think it's Jake Shields. I can't remember if it's Jake Shield or Shields, but he is a former MMA fighter. Very successful career with UFC, and he now runs a podcast. In fact, I was on the podcast about a month ago, and it was a good conversation.
Were Jewish men, Shlomo Rand, 34, and Moshe
Jake Shield notices, yes.
Shine, also known as Norman Shine, 76, attacked in the Jewish area of Golders Green.
Trigger warning, guys. There was a special Chosenite attacked on the street of London somewhere, and
the third victim was a Muslim man, Ismail Hussein, attacked earlier in South London. Police are treating the Golders Green stabbings as a terrorist incident. Initial reports from Reuters and other outlets prominently framed the story as an attack on 2 Jewish men in a Jewish neighborhood, while largely omitting or burying the third attempted murder of a Muslim victim. This selective emphasis created the impression of a purely anti-Semitic attack, even as full charging documents revealed a broader pattern. Prominent commentator Mehdi Hassan directly called out this airbrushing, noting that even police communications initially downplayed the full scope of the charges. Such framing fuels division by amplifying one community's victimization while minimizing others. This is not an isolated case. Organizations like the New York Times, Reuters, and others routinely employ starkly different language and emphasis depending on the victims. Attacks on Israelis or Jews receive immediate, detailed coverage with terms like terrorism, horrific, and strong condemnations. In contrast, Israeli strikes or actions in Gaza, Lebanon, or against other groups are often described in passive, sanitized terms: clashes, operations, or responses, with casualty figures downplayed, context heavily skewed toward Israeli security concerns.
Yeah, his body ran into the knife and obstructed the knife's trajectory, so that was his fault.
And Palestinian or Lebanese suffering presented as secondary or disputed. These institutions repeatedly highlight and personalize attacks on Jews and Israel, while attacks on Muslims, Arabs, or people in Gaza and Lebanon are treated with clinical detachment or outright omission of scale and intent. This double standard misleads audiences, stokes polarization, and erodes public trust in mainstream reporting. It serves to shape perceptions in favor of certain narratives, rather than delivering balanced, factual journalism. Responsible media must report the full facts without selective outrage. In this London case, the complete picture shows one man charged with 3 attempted murders, not a singular targeted assault on one community. We will continue to scrutinize such coverage and provide updates on this case as it proceeds through the courts.
Yeah, it's just like every story is just, here's another example of the double standard. I'm so like, you know, how many times have we seen all these videos? We see the same depravity each and every day. I swear, I like, and you guys are so earnest and sharing these links, and it's like always, it's the same old story, you know? If it was the first time, I feel like I'm being desensitized, and I hate that. But we've been seeing the same story play out, the same videos play out over and over and over. And then to make my life about this is, and I'm not complaining. And every time I start to sound like I'm complaining, I always remember the Palestinians, I always remember the actual people that are actually having to live with this, who don't get to say, oh, you know what, it's too much, I can walk away and take a break, because this is their lives. So please don't think that I'm minimizing anything, but I'm just speaking to the, I don't know what, I'm very sick of these people and this state. that's committing these atrocities, and it's a lot.
Someone is getting fit. I mean, we heard he had cancer. He tried to hide it, and he had multiple health problems, but he's back. He's back.
טוב, שלום, בוקר טוב. בוקר טוב. אפשר להפריע לך באימון? אתה יכול, אבל תצטרך לעבוד קשה. ולהפריע לך בלו"ז שלך היום, להתלוות? תתחיל בבוקר, כמעט כל בוקר פה, בחדר הכושר, ואחר כך תצטרף, כן, נשמח לראות. יש על הטיפ לצעירים שרוצים להתגייס ליחידות קרביות? להתאמן?
Must stay strong when it's time to flee to Cyprus.
לא לוותר. אתם מסוגלים להרבה יותר ממה שאתם חושבים. קצת מדרגות.
Is the roaring lion in the room with us?
יש לך מעלית, מדרגות, תלך במדרגות. טוב שאתה מה הדבר ראשון שאתה עושה אחרי אימון? עולה במדרגות.
It doesn't even look real to me. Look at, I mean, it's just ghoulish. Like, yes, there's the shape of a human there, and then you got this face, and it's like this villainous character. It looks like a Mardi Gras mask is his face. Real like I don't know what's the word. Exaggerated. Cartoonishly evil, in fact. But that is a nice pair of tits, you're right. If I ever met Netanyahu, I would ask him if I could squeeze his tits. Well, if I could give him a titty twister. Yep, Kate, and that is putting it mildly. Words cannot even begin to express the hatred and the... I gotta choose my words here. Because obviously we don't condone hate on this stream, folks. Okay, we live our lives according to the YouTube community guidelines, all right? It's amazingly important that we always stress that we do not condone hate. We do not condone violence of any kind. It's bad. It's bad. It's just, but you don't want it. You don't want that. I'm serious. I am serious here. By the way, yeah, you got distracted. Well, you know, we've been almost 4 hours into a stream. Nobody said hello to my cat. That's why he's not looking at you right now. He feels shunned. He feels neglected. You didn't say hello to him. Right, kitty? See? That wasn't just a void of blackness. That was actually my cat right there. And yes, if you must know, I am endearing myself to an audience of strangers by showing my cat on screen. Now you will believe me when I start spewing Marxist talking points. Because I have a cat.
ולא האמינו שאתה מקלף את זה לבד, ראש הממשלה. עם האצבע השישית. לא כך מתקלף. אתה שם גם מלח או שאתה אוכל את זה ככה? מלח הרבה. הרבה מלח? הרבה מלח. אמרו פעם שאסור לאכול מלח, איפה המלח? הנה, יש פה, תודה לך. כמה פרוטאין אתה אוכל ביום?
כמה ביצים? כמה שיש.
לא מספיק. אתה יודע למה? למה?
Dude, you don't think bombs should be used on... What? Get this anti-Semite out of here.
זה כבד. אני מעדיף את זה, אתה רואה את זה? אני אוריד את זה בעריכה.
The hell are we watching?
And there you have it, guys. Mr. Health and Fitness. That's it. The Israeli Prime Minister. Look at those gains. Look at those gains, boy. Look at those tries. He's lifting the whole rack up. My goodness. Bibi Netanyahu, look at those buys. Oh my
Look at that
goodness.
form.
Oh my goodness. I bet you.
Notice that his face skin tone does not match the rest of his body. I think he and Trump see the same spray tan specialist. Why does he look orange as fuck?
Jealous now. And he's also giving advice, don't give up. Every morning, go
He looks like he's been
and
embalmed already.
exercise, he's not taking the elevator, he's walking, right? And then he gives us his, diet plan. I have protein, I have hard eggs, right, with a lot of salt. And there you have it. Look at that. Look at the
That's really cute, Jess.
Israeli Prime Minister. Buys and tries today. Buys and try day. Arms day. Arms day. It's not a chest day or anything. It's just casual. You can see the whole rack up there.
Yes, and one bicep curl. Oh, okay, we're done. You got it? All right, we're good. Let's get out
What
of
is
here.
that? 150 kg on the tries. Look at them popping. So, yeah, the Israeli Prime Minister got...
He's like, I'm in great shape.
In good health. I mean, you said he has, all sorts of health problems now.
Yeah, you hate him, but your name is BB. That's tough.
No. He's out there in the gym.
I'm just kidding. I don't know who you are. I just saw BB, and so I thought I'd make a joke. Whatever.
Out on the stairs, having hard eggs for breakfast.
Or maybe your name is Kick BB. Kick him. Kick BB. No, don't change your name. Don't do that. Please don't. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make wordplay so that people will laugh.
Man, we have competition. I'm telling you. So yeah, the Israeli Prime Minister is trying to have some, good positive vibes amidst all of this chaos, and yeah, not so great reputation. He's not doing really good in the polls. He's trying to show his younger competitors for the next elections that he's healthier than them.
It's like you always have to wonder, why are we seeing this? Why now? There's always a political motivation. Everything that comes out of Satan's mouth. So yeah, it makes sense. He's trying to, he's just this young blood,
He has buys, gains, bruv. Right now, misinformation spreads faster than...
I really want to know, like, what are Netanyahu's poll numbers? The 2026 Israeli election, will Bennett and Lapid oust Netanyahu? Look at these ghouls. These are the challengers. On April 26, 2026, right-wing Israeli politician Naftali Bennett and centrist Yair Lapid. I love that they call him a centrist. There's no centrism in Israeli society. These people are genocidal warmongers. Announced the formation of a new party. Is it a poo-poo party? Or is it a pee-pee party? Am I required to wear a tiny hat to the party? Officially named the Bayachad, which means together, to contest the upcoming legislative elections due. Yeah, trash is taking on garbage. Who will win? Ah, the infamous and rare pee-poo party. I see what you did there. The upcoming legislative elections are due by October 27th, 2026. Why was it to contest the upcoming legislative elections? Oh, to contest. Okay, I see. Okay. This political union is not the first joint venture between the two veteran Israeli politicians. Indeed, a similar attempt followed the 21 Knesset election when a coalition was formed that included Lapid's Yesh Atid party, Bennett's Yamina party, Benny Gantz who shit his pants and then started the Blue and White party, Gideon Saar's New Hope party, and others who joined forces to defeat Nosferatu. Both Bennett and Lapid served as prime ministers in Israel's 36th government cabinet on a rotating basis in 21-22. Beep, beep, poo, poo. Y'all remember Rabbi Poo Poo? Or Rabbi Poo Poo? The surprise April 26th announcement poses a serious challenge to Prime Minister Benjamin Nosferatu and has a realistic chance of unseating him as Israel's longest-serving leader. Given his ongoing legal battle over bribery and fraud charges, that voice is hard to keep up, I'm sorry. His divisive leadership on judicial reforms, his lack of accountability for security failures in 23, and his inability to deliver on his domestic and foreign policy agenda. Oh my God, I made Saeed laugh. Well, my night has concluded. Mission accomplished. I can pack it up, pack it in. Including faltering bilateral ties with Washington and still remote prospects for achieving regime change in Iran. These failures have eroded his popularity, leading to a slow but steady decline in public opinion. All right, let's take a look. This is what I want to see. Netanyahu defensive as weekend polls show his coalition losing support, with polls showing most Israelis opposing Iran's ceasefire, of course. Likud drops in 3 weekend polls, while 2 others show the current coalition maintaining power. Olive Roots podcaster guy, an Israeli that we definitely know that guy. In fact, I think Saeed is the one that shared his videos with us one day. Cheesecake for breakfast? Are you kidding me? Dude, we just had cheesecake last night. Saeed's eating cheesecake for breakfast, honey. We had cheesecake last night. We didn't have it for breakfast because we're not bougie like that, okay? We're not Qatari oilmen. But no, it was excellent. Cheesecake is so good. Wow. Give it up for cheesecake, everybody. Isn't it great? Amazing. And now look at this. We're having a donut. So, so you had no idea that a donut was just loitering off screen there. Like a magic trick. I just produced a donut for you. Oh my God, it's so good. Donut. Oh, yeah. Oh, that donut was real good. Gato, I think I can handle a couple bites of a donut. Thanks, Mom. Thank you. My PO has showed up to the stream. My dietitian. I had no idea I had one. All right, but I want to know what the statistics really are, okay? They say that the poll numbers are bad. What are the numbers? Look at this. It's called Jewish Insider. I mean, so many ways you can take that. The name of this website is called Jewish Insider. Are they reporting from Shtei Taman terror camp? Jewish inside her? Inside who? That sounds a bit rapey. Which actually, no, that actually makes sense. Actually, it does sound very, you know. All right, well, it's paywalled because obviously it's thejewishinsider.com. And they must paywall everything. Let's see. Enter your email to read the full article for free. Oh, sure. Nice try, Shlomo. I don't think I'm falling for this one. Right? Try harder. And cry harder, in fact. If you thought dolphins with bombs are scary, wait until you see the sharks with lasers on their heads. Sharks with freaking laser beams. What is that from? Is that from Austin Powers? I mean, real life is beyond parody, right? Satire is dead. How are they going to make a movie now about this kind of shit? It's real life. We have literal reports by the agenda-setting media that claim that Iran is innovating a whole fleet of jihadi dolphins armed with mines. I mean, I can't even get through it without laughing because it's just... I can't even report that with a straight face, you know? Yep, Dr. Evil. Well, let's just keep reading the information that we can have access to. Just a second. Okay. The surprise April 26 announcement poses a serious challenge and has a realistic chance of unseating Nosferatu as Israel's longest-serving leader, given his ongoing legal battle over bribery and fraud charges, his divisive leadership on judicial reforms, his lack of accountability for security failures in 23, and his inability to deliver on his domestic and foreign policy agendas, including faltering bilateral ties with Washington and still remote prospects for achieving regime change in Iran. These failures have eroded his popularity, leading to a slow but steady decline in public opinion polls. All right, so a new poll by Israel's Channel 12, the first conducted since the formulation of Be'achad, which is if you'll recall, that's the party that was formed by Naftali Bennett and Yair Lapid. Predicted that the new party would win 26 seats, one more than the Likud. As the Times of Israel reported about the poll, Netanyahu's right-wing bloc only garnered 50 out of 120 Knesset seats, while the Zionist opposition parties received 60 and the Arab factions 10. These numbers do not indicate a landslide, unbridgeable victory over the Likud. Nonetheless, they signal a potential challenge for Netanyahu amid turbulent and unpredictable Israeli coalition politics. To improve their chances of defeating the Likud-led coalition later this year, Bennett and Lapid are seeking to broaden their coalition by inviting Gadi Eisenkot, the guy who came up with the Dahaya Doctrine, at least the document that is the Dahaya Doctrine. The former chief of staff of the Israel Defense Forces and leader of the Yashar Party, to join their new party. Although Eisenkot is still considering their offer, his support, along with that of his centrist Yashar Party followers, would strengthen the Bennett-Lapid union and bring more moderate elements critical of Nosferatu into the fold. Eisenkot. Eisenkot, who lost his 25-year-old son, Gal. I'm sorry, I had a... had a burp or something. I wasn't laughing at that. Please don't put in the papers that I was laughing. Eisenkot lost his 25-year-old son, Gal. Your son's name is Gal? Okay. on December 7th, 23, during the Gaza war, is widely known to be more forthcoming than Bennett and Lapid on the Palestinian issue, particularly on the two-state solution. Whether broadening the parameters of the coalition would help Bennett and Lapid oust Nosferatu and extreme right-wing allies remains uncertain, as Israel does not, at this critical stage, need new or recycled political faces. What does Israel need? Gosh, has anybody ever considered what are Israel's needs here? Israel needs a serious overhaul of its ideological Zionist underpinnings. No, Israel, that's a nice way of saying Israel needs to stop committing crimes against humanity in perpetuity with impunity. No, it just needs a serious overhaul of its ideological underpinnings, not the material actions of genocide, ethnic cleansing, and land theft. What? Oh, yeah. We need... Okay, just a second. Just a second. Is that better? Okay, yeah, maybe we don't need that extra light. It's still not bad. It's just in order to put this on and have it look okay to the viewer, I have to put on these big, almost like stage lights. Oh, shut up, PJ. Blow it out your asshole. Yeah, because, you know, obviously we want professionalism like, what, CNN? Let's see. I don't really care about all this. I just wanted to just... I mean, I do, but I don't. But I do. Frankly, it's doubtful that Be'achah, the offspring of what is essentially a short-term political marriage of convenience between parties motivated by the rejection of Nosferatu and his failed Netanyahuism, or Nosferatuism, will be able to rise above the typical pettiness of Israeli electoral politics and address the broader existential challenges brought about by Netanyahu's Machiavellian leadership. Remember when Netanyahu quoted Machiavelli? That evil piece of shit. It's like the villain's handbook. That's what Machiavelli wrote. He's like, this is a good guy. Should really take some notes. Turbo Johnny, I don't know what you're talking about, okay? But I did not fart. I've never farted on stream. Ever. Except for that, like, couple dozen times. But that was, you know, silent but deadly. So, you would have no idea, really. Kiki BB, you seem confused. Your name was searched in Israel 100 times on March 31st? No way. Your full name, which is what now? What again is it, Saeed? I forgot. Your full name is Saeed, Saeed MSE. No, it's MSR. See, you can't even type it right. Your full name is not MSR. Your last name's not Msir. I do not shart on camera, guys. But I do wear a diaper just in case. I mean, I'm not going to front like I don't, but that's just for precautionary measures. I don't know why you're even talking about farts. I just went to go turn off a light and then I came back. People are now being slandered and defamed as a farter. Yeah, a diaper. What's wrong with that? Doesn't everyone wear diapers? It's just for the convenience. It's not like I can't control myself. It's just... What are we doing here? What is this? I really think we should sort of re-examine what this relationship is about. Honestly. Because... Not sure about this. Yeah, I didn't say I never did. I just said I never did on stream. What relationship? This parasocial relationship that we're both in right now. Like it or not. Bennett and Lapid have not demonstrated serious initiative or leadership since that war began on February 28, 26. They have not presented an alternative Iran policy to challenge Netanyahu's failed adventurism. That's interesting. Oh, I thought we were still on Jewish Insider, but this is ArabCenterDC.org. But I'd be interested in learning that they've characterized that as a failed adventurism. They have not presented an alternative Iran policy to challenge Netanyahu's failed adventurism, which has undermined regional stability and in the long term will only add challenges to Israeli national security. Second, with minor superficial exceptions, Bennett and Lapid have also failed to mount a serious challenge to Netanyahu's genocidal policies in Gaza because they're overwhelmingly popular among the populace in Israel. That's why you don't have politicians saying or criticizing Netanyahu about Gaza and the ongoing ethnic cleansing in the West Bank. If they win the next elections and form the next Israeli government, where would they stand on ending the Arab-Israeli conflict? Are they willing to engage in serious... Oh my God, what is this liberal bullshit? Of course not. All right, I think you get the idea. Remember when the police dragged an 87-year-old Holocaust survivor, Stephen Kapos, his name was Kapos? It's a bit on the nose, to be questioned under caution because he was on a protest against genocide and wished to lay flowers for the dead children of Gaza outside.
We're protesting today because Stephen Kapos, the Holocaust survivor, has been pulled in.
It's funny because like every non-Holocaust survivor that is just happens to be Jewish and they're like you know, millennials claiming to be the Holocaust survivors, and they're defending Israel, of course, and then like actual Holocaust survivors actually stand with Palestine. So
to a police station for questioning about his involvement in what was a completely peaceful protest.
But I think it's a very dangerous slide towards complete authoritarianism and even in the direction of fascism. We can see that in Germany and the US, the suppression of protest and free speech is violent. We have to resist as much as possible.
As Stephen's son, it's really it's distressing to know that he's being interviewed by the police at the moment.
This is an interesting point, Alex. Can you lay out the tenets and principles of Saidism? What does that entail exactly? I'd like to hear it from you.
Holocaust survivor Stephen Kapos. He was supposedly breaking through the police line. Well, I can tell you, he's not in any physical state to break through a police line. He's 87.
As the son of a Holocaust survivor, I am in despair at what is happening, the genocide.
See, now that's more appropriate to say I am the son of a Holocaust survivor. But I'm thinking specifically of that viral clip of that lady who's like 30-something attacking Max Blumenthal at some expose or something. And she's like, I'm a Holocaust survivor. This bitch was born in the 80s. How does
that's happening in Gaza? And I'm also in despair at the fact that here in Britain, the Metropolitan Police have decided to pursue an actual Holocaust survivor in his late 80s.
I think the fact that an 87-year-old Holocaust survivor is so warmly welcomed on the marches, universally, he's loved. I think it gives a lie to the fact that there's anything remotely anti-Semitic going on. And in fact...
Boom. Roasted. Thank you, Alex. Completely correct. A child's mind inside of a 48-year-old body. That is Saeed.
The conflation of anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism is just a way, an attempt to silence protest.
The situation is made more bizarre.
I believe you, Saeed. I believe you. I want to know more about this story. I've never actually Googled whether or not they were searching my name or something. I would presume that might be the case, but I've never looked into it.
By the fact that the main reason why the police...
Okay, Kiki, thank you. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to access videos if I'm not on the app itself, but if you want to share things that we watch on stream, you can, and people are apprehensive about this or not, but you can join the Discord that we have. And there's a thread that we share to that that people, if they're interested, can share to. It's video suggestions for the live stream. So that could
say they have to curtail and repress our demonstrations is that they claim they're a threat to the Jewish community. And yet here you have a Holocaust survivor on protests we've been involved in. We have demonstrations where there are always hundreds of Jewish people. And in reality, around the world, millions and millions of Jewish people, not surprisingly, are opposed to the genocide that is being carried out by the Israeli state.
The authorities across the Western world have united around one thing, and that is that we must clamp down on anyone talking about the Palestinians. It's slightly reminiscent of what happened to Jews in the middle of the last century, where no one seemed to speak out for them, or they weren't allowed to, or whatever.
I am disgusted at all those who are enabled this to go on. All the enablers, the US, the various Western governments, including our own. It's very difficult to talk about it because...
Can y'all hear me chewing while the video plays? Because if so,
it is so painful, it's almost beyond comment. Innocent people being bombed, again with these enormous 2,000-pound bombs. Again, children are dying in large number. It's unbearable.
I am a Hungarian Jew.
Yeah, Grok, are Jews oppressed?
Holocaust survivor. So when the Israeli government says that they're doing what they're doing against the Palestinians because of the Holocaust and because of anti-Semitism, I feel outraged, and I do not want them.
And now when people use this expression, I always think of Randy Fat Fuck Jew Fine. He's like, starve away.
To do any atrocities in my name, in the name of the Holocaust.
Okay, you guys can't hear me. At least most of you can't hear me. So that's good.
It's a genocide. It wasn't a ceasefire. They didn't break a ceasefire. They just doing what the European Nazis did against the European Jews. And yet the Palestinians had nothing to do with the horrors of the Holocaust.
That's right, because abstractly we can all recognize that murder is wrong. Abstractly, you can understand that action is wrong in an abstract sense. There was like a better point that I was trying to make, but I lost it.
I feel utterly outraged that while a Holocaust survivor is interviewed here in London, Israel continues to kill innocent Palestinians in the name of the Holocaust.
It's like you don't need ideology to justify a murder, you know? It's like murder is wrong because murder is wrong. Genocides are wrong because it's just inherently, intrinsically wrong to destroy an entire civilization.
Outrageous.
My father survived the genocide. Part of what motivates him is the desire that genocide should not be repeated.
What's amazing about my dad, he has such an incredible past. I mean, it is an incredibly traumatic story, but he's using that experience to find humanity. He's always fought for justice, and I think that's just something that I'm incredibly proud of him for.
I am overwhelmed by the support and the solidarity that is shown, and I think that the activism of
a hula hoop survivor, huh? I like that.
In favor of the people of Gaza creates a kind of warm family in a way, and that's how I feel about it, and it's amazing.
I don't want to say too much about what happened to me because I am facing trial. But what I can say is that it was an entirely peaceful protest. I was involved in negotiations with the police, and literally in the middle of those negotiations, I was grabbed by a whole number of police officers and thrown to the ground.
The Holly Coaster. See, I like hologram. What was the
And
other
assaulted and then dragged off to the police cells and charged. We are calling on people to continue to mobilise in numbers because what is happening in Palestine is unconscionable. It's a kind of Alice in Wonderland world they're trying to construct in which people who are opposed to the systematic slaughter of children, opposed to the flattening of hospitals, opposed to the incineration of refugee camps, are designated hate marchers by people who are actually very often colluding in genocide.
What is striking about the Palestine protests, both here and in other countries, is that the governments are determined to repress and stop them happening. This is a very sure sign that we are having some real effect, and they're really scared, and they know full well that the majority of the populations in Western Europe, even in the US, are not happy about this genocide in Gaza. And this is all the more reason why we must keep protesting.
I'm intending to continue to attend all the big demonstrations on Saturdays as long as I can walk and do it. And at the moment, there is no sign that immediately I would not be able to do it. So I will go.
Somebody has got to arrest this guy. He's a dangerous threat to national security.
Who do you think is more morally repulsive, Ted Cruz or
Who
Nick
do you think
Fuentes?
is more morally repulsive?
Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is a sitting U.S. senator who has called for the killing of people who did nothing wrong, whole populations who advocated for this war.
Yeah, don't let that guy turn 88. That would be really anti-Semitic.
Nick Fuentes is like a kid. He's like 26 or 70. He has no power except his words. Here you have a public official who we
guy's
pay, who has actual power, who's voting for things, who's making policy decisions. And those
whatever you want to say about the messenger, the message is correct.
decisions would include, in fact, they are focused on the murder of people who did nothing wrong. And yet no one thinks it's a big deal. Well, this is totally fine. I mean, if there's tape of Nick Fuentes saying we should kill people because we hate their parents, or it's okay to kill children, I would love to see the tape because that's disgusting. And that's basically what the entire U.S. Senate does every single day, and no one notices. Nick Fuentes said something naughty that I disagreed with. He made fun of things that I don't think I would never make fun of them.
He's a white nationalist who's denied the Holocaust. And what I will say,
Okay, but is that worse than killing kids?
From my understanding,
right? Jesus Christ, dude. People can deny the hula hoop, okay? What you can't do is like form a hula hoop denial organization that lobbies the government of the United States to enact laws that make it illegal to do the opposite of denying the hula hoop.
of my own, I was just in Germany recently, and it was such a good reminder that the Holocaust didn't start with the gassing of Jews. It started with the dehumanization of Jews. It was language that was used. And again,
Right.
that is what it
I
concerns
couldn't
people.
agree more.
Oh, wow. Well, imagine what might happen in a few years. Don't worry about what's happening now, of course. No. Imagine down the road if we allow the anti-Septicism to spread. Just think about what that might... Don't worry about... No, don't look at that. Stop. The mountain of dead bodies committed by the one and only Jewish state. Stop that. Think about down the road. What happens in 4 years when Iran gets a nuclear weapon? What then? Checkmate.
And that's
Lib.
why when you have a U.S. senator, a member of Congress, a U.S. ambassador waving away civilian deaths as if they don't matter, that's the language of genocide, which results, and this is the lesson of the Holocaust, in genocide itself. And
Thank you. Yeah. The most consequential, powerful people who populate the upper echelons of the U.S. government are rhetorically greenlighting a genocide. And apart from, like, just to use her argument against her, right? Because she's like, well, it began with words. Well, yeah. It began with, words of very popular political figures, very powerful political figures that actually had material power to institute policies that the government then enacted upon the public.
yes. So the lesson for me, really, watching all of this, is that this can happen in civilized countries. In all...
What Tucker, I think, is sort of saying is we judge people not by whether they're, good people or whether they're good family men or whatever, but we judge them by what their role is in society.
Human beings. There is the capacity to ignore the evil right in front of you. And my point is, it's happening right now. And my job, to the extent I have one, I don't really have a job, but I just want to remind people that we're all capable of that, including me, and that we're watching it right now. And if you think that Nick Fuentes is a greater threat to other human beings than Ted Cruz, I would love to know how.
I can imagine people hearing this and thinking you are soft pedaling Nick Fuentes. You are apologizing for Nick Fuentes.
It's the only thing that she could possibly say, because everything that Tucker just said, and he painted the broader context that facilitated this discussion in the first place, and she obviously can't counter anything of any substance in that argument. So she has to say, well, you're soft pedaling Nick Fuentes. No, he's saying that whatever Nick Fuentes represents or whatever he does it pales in comparison to the power and the consequences of the rhetoric and actions of someone that is a sitting U.S. senator like Ted Cruz. I don't know why you would do that, Saeed, but is the stream just that dirty? Is that why? But either way, love you back, homie, and thank you so much, as usual. Everybody give it up for Saeed. Much love to Saeed and to his wonderful family, Hamas.
Soft pedaling Nick Fuentes. I'm trying to awaken people to killing of innocents in our midst, which we are not only encouraged to ignore, but really told to ignore on pain of being denounced.
You have to tell Saeed good morning, not good night, because he's in the Middle East and it's morning time and he's enjoying some cheesecake, okay? Salam, brother. I will. I'll Google trend it. I'm a little scared to do that, I don't know if I want to do it. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. That's why you got to go wash your computer. I get it. I'm slow, but I get there sometimes.
And I'm just saying, no, I'm not doing that.
All right. Can I live stream the Google Trend search? If you do, yes, I can.
Did a great job on insulin. He doesn't
Can
even know
totally
what the
do
hell.
that.
He had no idea and I was standing there seething. I was watching television. You know what it is to seethe?
Oh, you were watching television? Wow, what a shocker.
I seethe a lot.
You should be listening to your military analysts who are telling you, do not go to war.
But this is one of the times I was seething. Oz knows that. I was so angry. I said, I did it, and I didn't get credit for it. We did a lot of things we didn't get credit for, but I guess I did because here I am, I'm president. I guess I did.
He says, I see the lot. Yeah, same here, bucko.
And there was no response. Turn your ship around. Evacuate your engine room immediately. And you see all these guys running out of there. Now, they're 5 miles away, and one shot into the engine room, blew up the engine room. The ship stopped. They used tugboats, and then we landed on top of it. On top of everything else, we then land on top of it, and we took over the ship. We took over the cargo, took over the oil. It's a very profitable business. Who would have thought we were doing that? We're like pirates. We're sort of like pirates.
And this is funny because, like, well, it's not funny, but piss drunk Pete Kegsbreath was accusing and accusing, I guess I should say, accusing Iran of international piracy. And then, yeah, I just like, and then roll the footage. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
But we're not playing games because, you know, for 47 years, Iran has been pushing everybody around. They're the bully.
Trump on Cuba.
An architect who's really talented, has done a lot of work for him. He's got a flair, a beautiful Hispanic flair in particular. And he comes from originally a place called Cuba, which we will be taking over almost immediately. No, Cuba's got problems. We'll finish one first. I like to finish a job. On the way back from what we'll do, on the way
He's a stand-up
back
comedian.
from Iran, we'll have one of our big, maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, the biggest in the world. We'll have that come in, stop about 100 yards offshore, and they'll say, thank you very much.
100 yards. Try 700 miles, dipshit. You can't even go anywhere. I know he was talking about Cuba, but...
Winston Churchill saved Western civilization. That is the official version. The bulldog, the lion, the man who stood alone against Hitler when every other leader was ready to fold, the voice that held civilization together, the cigar, the V sign, the speeches that still send a chill down your spine 80 years later. That version is not wrong. But it leaves out one detail that changes everything. In 1938, the man who would save Western civilization was about to lose his house, not inconveniently short of cash. Not temporarily stretched, broken the way that ends careers and dissolves reputation.
This video is too long and pedantic, but yeah, Churchill was a shithead. Is there any videos being made that aren't AI? AI, more like gay eye for the straight guy.
What are your jobs? I sold my soul, and I work for a defense contractor. You work for a defense contractor? Wow, that is not who I thought you were going to be. Can I get some pronouns going? She, her, okay, got it. Are you a trans woman? May I ask that? Is that right? You're a trans woman. Now, are you the only trans woman working at the defense contractor? No? There's just a defense contractor full of trans women just dropping bombs on brown people. How about those pronouns? Okay, so you make motors for what exactly?
Yeah, I need to know. It's not about the dropping bombs on the children. It's. I need to know that whoever drops those bombs identifies as they, them.
Rocket motors. Oh, rocket for rockets.
Because that's freedom.
So like when that school in Iran, dude, that's a pickle for a liberal, don't you think? You're like, technically the motors were made by trans women, so who are you on the side of, liberals? But are you a liberal? Yeah. Okay. You're very leftist, but then help me understand the logic. But that's a lot, isn't that a lot of money? I feel like there's a middle ground somewhere in there. Are you like pro-capitalism? No, you hate capitalism. You just build rocket motors for our military? Have you had other jobs? What were those? You got radicalized at a Starbucks, dude? It was local. Oh, sorry. How dare I accuse you of...
What did he say?
You got radicalized at a Starbucks, dude? It was local. Oh, sorry. How dare I accuse you of working at a terrible corporate entity like Starbucks?
Yeah, Lockheed Martin is much better.
I don't understand you one little bit. You go to therapy. You talk about building the rocket motors in therapy? No, I talk about my trauma. Okay. Tell me what your trauma is. Your dad is your trauma? Yeah, you know what some people's trauma is? Getting hit by a highly propellant rocket.
Yeah, my dad, though. It's my trauma.
And all glory goes to Jesus Christ and our Heavenly Father that leads, guides, and directs us. We are commit ourselves to God in this holy fight, and we are committed. And if God stands with us, who can stand against us? And that's how I close out. So I salute you all.
I know another chosen race that says that, too. Everybody loves to invoke God to justify whatever the fuck acts they gotta grind.
What a crew.
Can we stop invoking God for all your political and economic agendas, please?
The hell we've been through is all.
Leave God alone. Hasn't he done enough? Or she or they or whatever? Whatever your pronouns are, God, we forgive you for creating the human race. Do we? Do we, though?
We made us stronger. Let me ask you, would you have any other way? No! Are you not stronger now in this fight?
Yeah, no, that's a cope. That's a cope. I'm sure he loves getting his show shut down after 27 years and having to be bought by The Onion. Wouldn't have it any other way, actually. I didn't need this show anyway. Yeah! I never wanted it.
I salute this crew and all the viewers and listeners to this fight, and I commit myself to Jesus Christ's hands.
Amen. God bless the InfoWar. Woo!
You are the InfoWar. It lives forever. We're going to play Frank Sinatra Blue Eyes and come back with the great Tom Renz and then Jay Dyer to close this out. God bless you all. That's it. The next phase starts. The real war begins now.
Do I hear 25? I hear 50. Sold to the lady in the black cat on the back of the blah.
175 de los participantes que fueron secuestrados por Israel se encuentran en este momento siendo
Okay, that's in Spanish. I don't speak Mexican, guys.
So the golden question of the hour, or the week really, is what is the extent of your relationship with Brian Noem?
Well, we don't have one anymore. But he was one of my webcam clients for about 1.5 to 2 years. I don't know like
strictly like when he came in, but
How did you first come into contact
But I did know that he came.
with him?
he came in my chat room. I make most of my money going private with
Oh, that sounds gross. He came in your chat room? That sounds sticky.
people, so it's like a one-on-one experience, and he took me private. He was talking in my chat, and then kind of what usually happens is I treat him like every other client. I didn't know who he was, and so I just said, "You want to have some fun and exclusive?" And he took me.
And how did it go?
Well, I've said this before. I had never seen someone with
I have never seen a spread asshole with tattoos until I saw Brian Gnome.
Can I cuss? Like, is that okay?
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Okay, perfect. I had never seen tits that big on a man before. So immediately it was burned into my brain.
So what were those things?
Okay, this is what's crazy to me because I actually thought he had a breastplate because I've seen guys, sorry, I've seen guys come in and they have breastplates and it's like, have you seen them?
Mm.
Okay.
Wait, you guys don't have a breastplate? I thought that was...
Well, they're like silicone tits. I thought that he had just like the most massive ones I've ever seen. I'm like, God, those must have been like $2,000. I guess they were just balloons and I was tricked. So, because they had nipples too and they were like lopsided, but I just thought, I don't know, he got it from like Temu or something. Like,
And did he explain
Honey, can you go put my breastplate back in the closet, please?
to you why he had those in?
well, he wanted to be like a big titty. So
And would you say he achieved his goal?
I would say, yeah, absolutely.
In what sense?
I think that he wanted to be like feminized and he wanted to
Wow, look at that bulge. That is quite the moose knuckle.
feel sexy and slutty. And I think that whenever he came to me, he got to be that.
Oh my God. Christy Gnome is the, or at least she was the head of ICE, right? Isn't she the dog slayer? Yeah, Secretary of Homeland Security. So they were talking about her husband. Didn't she leak that story herself? She's the puppy killer. Crusty Gnome. Good one. Well played. The Kabbalah secrets. Okay.
Goyim are like I'm converting. I'm joining Chabad at this point. I'm so over the Goyim. We have to note that a very, very important piece of this whole story that we're seeing unfold in the Middle East is Kabbalah. The Likud party, that's the ruling party of Israel, who I have done videos.
Hey, knock it off, man. I was bulge maxing.
About that you should watch. Likud, okay, they have a very, very significantly large Hasidic base, or like Orthodox Jewish base, not really Hasidic, Orthodox Jewish base, okay? They are religious. They are not a secular party. They are religious. Likud has a large, they're kind of the MAGA party of Israel. They have a lot of religious people. And so you have to understand that Netanyahu wants to be the Messiah, basically.
The Moshiach.
That's not the right sound. There we go. Like, he kind
Guy's
of
got
wants
sound
to be
effects.
not the Messiah, but the precursor to the Messiah. So if you're a Christian, right? If you're a Christian, you know how we believe that St. John the Baptist, right? That he is the forerunner to the Messiah. If you're a Christian, you know, so St. John the Baptist, this is a little, Muslims believe he was a prophet, but they don't believe that he was the forerunner. So if you're a Christian like me, you believe that St. John the Baptist is the forerunner to the Messiah. What does that mean? They believe that his role in the gospel was he came before Jesus and, as Isaiah says, or Ezekiel says, made the way straight, meaning he prepared the nation of Israel for the arrival of Jesus Christ. St. John the Baptist. That's what they believe, okay? Now, that concept of a
Fucking Christ, I don't need to learn any more about the idiosyncrasies of the Jewish faith. Kind of sick of it.
component commander for all of Europe, all of Africa, and also for NATO. Fight anywhere in the world, a global capability that can go.
Now this is an office. Yeah. This is more like feels like a command center more than an office.
It is. Right? We can do everything we need to out of here.
What is your job?
What? An ISIS flag was spotted inside an office at the U.S. Army Europe and Africa headquarters in Germany. It's got an ISIS flag. That's what that was? Why am I not surprised-witzed? Okay.
Why do you think the war was rushed, and why is it happening now? And do you feel, after everything you've seen over the last 2 months, do you feel as though this was always the plan? Or is this actually an impulsive, foolish war?
Well, I mean, they have this plan called the clean break. This from back in 1997 or 1998. I think it was presented by Daniel Pike to Netanyahu, and this was actually referred to by Wesley Clark, the Supreme Commander of NATO. He said that the plan was to take out 7 countries in 7 years, right? And these are among the 7 countries. Among the 7 countries, Iran was basically last one standing. And the idea of the clean break is really to remake the Middle East.
Guys, I didn't realize how late it is. I should probably sign off now. But I think we... Oh, who's this guy? Gotta smell it. That guy's hilarious. Wow, are these all new ones? Oh my goodness, you guys, I'm so sorry.
It drains my soul because every morning there they are, dead children, dead parents, dead civilians, and the Israelis just gloating over them. And we're backing the Israelis, and we somehow pretend that this is normal. We pretend that Israel is a normal functioning state. It's not. It's a cancer to the world. It's a cancer to the soul of humanity.
Yup. All right, you sound like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, okay? How about that? All right, I'm going to sign off now because you insulted me. But I love you guys. Thanks so much once again. All the best. Peace and love, as always. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming tomorrow. I might not, but I'll definitely be back Monday. And thanks to everyone for obviously supporting what I do. Thank you for your donations, your memberships, your subscriptions, your super chats, all your comments, likes, views, everything. I sincerely appreciate it. You keep me strong. You keep me going. So much love and see you soon. Okay. Have a great night. Bye-bye, everyone.